run it, run it. That's how we run it, run it. You know we run it, run it. That's how we run it, run it. You know we run it, run it.
Two guys that are out today. A.J. Green has been out to start this year. They're hoping that he's going to be back maybe week 6, maybe week 7. He's out of the walking boot. He's on the treadmill, but he has not gone on the practice field yet. Devin Singletary was injured last week in the Giants game. You know, he's the young stud, but that is a big loss for Sean McDermott's team.
It certainly is, Tom. They call him Motor. He's in for a little tune-up. Yeah. He won't be here this week. He'll be riding on Frank Gore, and T.J. Yeldon should get some carries as well. Randy
Bullock has it teed up at the 35. He has a holder because the wind is so strong today. Andre Roberts back deep to receive, and here we go from Buffalo, New York. And Roberts will take it and let it go over his head out of the back of the end zone. So it'll be our first look at Josh Allen. Now the wind is going to be have an effect on today's ball game.
It certainly will. Josh Allen has such a strong arm, though, maybe the strongest arm in the NFL, that he can throw that ball through the wind. Going to impact the kicking game.
Upwards to about 30 miles per hour. So 7 straight games with 200 yards or more passing for Josh Allen. The first Bill since Jim Kelly to accomplish that. They'll start from the 25-yard line. And Frank Gore will not be in the backfield. He'll be split out as a receiver on the near side. Beasley is in the backfield on first down. From the gun, Allen to throw. And this is what he does best, is throw on the run. And it's tipped and nearly intercepted. The intended receiver was Lee Smith, and he couldn't hang on.
They wanted to get Beasley one-on-one with a linebacker and give him a choice route. It wasn't there. Then Allen had to go back the other way, and a dangerous throw could have been intercepted.
We talked yesterday to Preston Brown, the outstanding linebacker for the Bengals, because obviously Josh Allen has to be watched all the time, and that's one of those times where he has to be watched.
Yeah, Preston Brown said, touchdown, check down, get out of town.
Second down and 10 from the 25. Allen zips it to the near side for Beasley. Beasley gets just a couple before he's wrapped up and taken down. Carlos Dunlap is there to make the tackle. How big is this first drive for the Bengals defense after what happened with the 49ers last week?
Huge. I said it in our open that loss was emasculating. They got beat up, they got out-schemed. To be able to come out and try to get a 3 and out and kind of reset the whole season, that would be big for this defense.
Bills so far 10 for 23 on third down. It'll be our first look at T.J. Yeldon in the backfield. Robert Foster in motion on third down. Allen's being pressured. He steps up, breaks away, and then is dropped behind the line of scrimmage inside the 25. Geno Atkins. He'll be credited with the sack.
Geno Atkins never stops. His motor continues to run. He's got a ton of pride. Fighting through the block. Josh Allen trying to get outside the pocket and make something happen. He didn't have anything downfield, but Geno Atkins cleans it up, and that's a huge stop for that defense.
First sack of the year for Atkins, 72 for his career as he's climbing the charts, along with Carlos Dunlap. Alex Erickson back deep to receive. And the wind acted like a wall on that punt. Erickson from the 33. Fortunately, it was really high, so it gave the coverage team a chance to get down there. Julian Stanford with the special teams tackle. Andy Dalton is a seasoned veteran in the National Football League. It's remarkable to think that he eclipsed his career high in passing yards in a game in week number 1.
It is, and when I watched him play both weeks, not just week 1, even against the 49ers, I really liked what I saw from Andy Dalton, delivering the ball well, leads the NFL with 61 completions, second in yards. This offense fits in very well.
Joe Mixon in the backfield. Uzama in motion. And Dalton to throw. Near side pass is incomplete. That's John Ross, who does have issues with drops. We saw it even in the week 1 loss to the Seahawks, and then he bounced back. But that's been an issue for him during his career.
Both games he had drops, but he made plays after that. Andy Dalton showing faith in him, going right back to him after the big drop in Seattle. They hit the touchdown, but he can't afford to continue dropping the ball. When your offenses struggle, especially like they did against the 49ers, you have to make plays, you have to come out, your quarterback has to know, when I hit you with an easy one, you got to catch it.
What did Dalton tell us? He said a few years ago, John Ross wouldn't have been able to make the touchdown reception I threw him after the drop. He said, but he's getting more mature. It's loud here in Buffalo. Play clock down to 3. And positive yards inside the 42-yard line. Ed Oliver in on the tackle for the Bills.
I love Ed Oliver. Watched him in college, did a couple of his games. He had one game in college, he had 12 tackles for a loss from the nose tackle position. Love this kid and I thought he was the best draft pick on any team.
Well, you told Sean McDermott that the other day. 3rd down and 5. Bengals need to get to the 47 for a first down. Play clock at 6. Dalton under pressure, hit from behind, incomplete. Jerry Hughes came in and hit him from behind.
And that's a matchup we're going to watch all day. Jerry Hughes on Andre Smith coming off the corner. Andy Dalton's been sacked 9 times already this season. This offensive line has not been able to run block. They haven't been able to pass block. It's been an issue.
Well, Jay, that's now 10 straight opening drives for the Bengals without a touchdown. It's the 3rd longest active streak of the National Football League. Roberts back to receive for the Bills. Roberts from the 12 out of bounds, from the 17 out of bounds. All right, each team knocking the cobwebs out. They each have 1 drive under their belt. We'll be back for drive number 2 when we get back. You know, we were here in Buffalo when Sean McDermott was a first-year coach. It was a very different roster than what the Bills have right now. Josh Allen wasn't here, but there were a whole host of guys that weren't on this team.
They signed 22 unrestricted free agents this offseason.
On first down, second possession, here's Gore right up the middle. Gore up the 25 to the 30. A gain of 12. Dre Kirkpatrick with the tackle.
We're going to see some good blocking here by this offensive line, coming down and open it up for Gore. Look at the hole right there, running through it. With Gore, you're going to see more straight ahead, more power schemes. They don't have Singletary, and he provided that big pop, the big explosive play from the running back. You probably won't see that from Gore.
Reload! On first down from the 29-yard line, I formation, DeMarco the fullback, and Gore again. Running right, gets up across the 30 to the 32.
Gore is remarkable. The fact that you go back even to college, he tore his ACL 2 years in a row at college. You didn't think he'd have much of a pro career, and here he is, almost 15,000 yards rushing, climbing up the charts. You know, he has an opportunity to pass Barry Sanders this year. Just staggering to me what he's been able to accomplish in his career.
And he's been a good mentor for that young man there, Devin Singletary, which is one of the things that Sean McDermott and even Zach Taylor told us, that they want to have guys in the room that can help their young players. Beasley open at the 40, and he spins up to the 42. Preston Brown was in on the coverage. Tony McRae makes the tackle for the Bengals.
Beasley was a little late on his break. Watch Josh Allen here waiting on him. Reloads, and then throws it in there. He's got such a strong arm that even when it's not open, he can laser it in there. Sometimes a little too overconfident with the strength of the arm, and it gets him in trouble. But trying to have more discernment as a quarterback this year.
Let me correct that. McRae was in on the coverage. Brown came over to help. It was McRae that made the tackle, and we've got movement on the right side. Dawson Knox, the backup tight end from Ole Miss.
False start. Offense, number 88. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And that's a good point to bring up Tyler Kroft, who's not playing today. Got hurt in practice this week, and they're really excited. He was coming back from injury, and then he goes out and he rolls an ankle, and he's out for a while now. And Dawson Knox has got to step up his game. As a rookie, can't afford mistakes like he just made.
What did Sean McDermott tell us the other day when Kroft was hurt? He said, I've never seen a team circle around a player at practice and feel so badly for a young man who fought so hard to get into the starting lineup. On first down, here's Yeldon. Yeldon behind the line of scrimmage, ripped down. Andrew Billings makes the tackle for the Bengals. Tell you what, the defensive line for the Bengals, at least in these first 5.5 minutes or so, reminiscent to that Seattle game.
They played really well against Seattle. Carlos Dunlap had a great game. Sam Hubbard, loved the way he played. Reminded me of a guy I played with, Patrick Kearney, just with relentless effort, getting after the quarterback. Hubbard had 2 sacks in that Seattle game.
Second down and long for the Bills. They need to get inside Cincinnati territory. Allen from the gun. He's hit as he throws from behind. It'll be incomplete. Tony McRae, the nickelback, came over and hit him as the ball went loose.
Watch Josh Allen here. Takes a peek there at Smoke. John Brown doesn't throw it to him, and he was open. He had an opportunity. Watch John Brown right there. If he throws it now, he had a completion, maybe a big play with John Brown's speed.
Well, now it's a third down for the Bills. 9:28 to play in the first quarter.
Well, so far on third down this year, he's gone to John Brown. 8 of 15 pass attempts from Josh Allen.
Yelled into the slot on the right. Allen eludes the pressure on the run, points, throws on the run. Pass is complete inside the 40-yard line. John Brown found himself open. You got a quarterback that moves. You got to be a receiver that moves.
And John Brown is smart. He's played with Carson Palmer. He's played with Flacco. He knows how to adjust his route and come back to the quarterback. You see Josh Allen looking for him, and then there's where you see the arm strength. When Josh Allen is rolling right, not a lot of quarterbacks can zip this ball in there. He's going deep. He comes back, and then boom, the ball's there. Completion, move the chains.
27 yards to the 38-yard line. Really isolated in the open about how well he moves. Very few young quarterbacks move and throw like he does. On first down. Little shuttle, which worked last week to McKenzie, and McKenzie out of bounds to the 30-yard line. Well, John Brown, they tried to get him a couple years ago. He said no. He went to the Ravens. He was so excited when they came back and asked him to come to Buffalo again.
He's such a great guy. Sean McDermott always talks about culture and bringing the right guys in. Well, John Brown is that kind of guy. He's not a diva at all. You think of wide receivers, you think of that. He comes to work every day. He's got a huge smile on his face, and then he has the talent to be able to go out there and produce.
Was he like that when you played with him?
From his rookie all the way on. Just a guy who appreciates every day he gets.
On second down, here's Gore. And Gore to the 30-yard line. Let's go to New York for JB and Phil.
A first this season, Phil.
Yeah, after a field goal by Philadelphia, the Detroit Lions, Jamal Agnew returns the kickoff 100 yards. The first kickoff return of the year, JB.
There it is.
Wait for those facts. That's why you're here. What a way to answer for Detroit. They're up 7-3. Let's throw it back to Tom McCarthy and the leg, Jay Feely.
The leg. I don't know about the leg anymore. I love seeing those kickoff returns, though. You don't see a lot of returns now in the NFL.
We got third down and 2. Allen from the gun. What do you think about here?
Well, you're looking at either Beasley. I like Beasley with a little choice route.
Allen rolling the pocket back. He's going the wrong way, and he throws it out of bounds. He's hit as he throws by Carlos Dunlap. That is one-on-one right there by Dunlap.
No, it's going to be intentional grounding because Josh Allen didn't get the ball past the line of scrimmage. He was outside the pocket so he can throw it away, but the ball's got to get past the line of scrimmage. So this is going to knock him out of field goal range if it goes all the way back to around the 50.
Clete Blakeman is our referee.
Intentional grounding. Offense, number 17. Ball he placed in the spot of the foul is a loss of down. It brings up fourth down.
That's a good point on your part, Jay.
It's just a bad mistake by Josh Allen. He comes out, he's getting pressure. You're in field goal range. You could even go for it. You had fourth and short, and instead you wait, you throw it, and you don't get it past the line of scrimmage, and now you have to punt.
So the Bengals will get it back. Erickson is back at his 10. Bojorquez is on to punt for the first time, punting into the wind. Erickson's going to call for the fair catch. And he has it at the 18-yard line. Bengals will get the football back for the second time when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new 2020 Lincoln Aviator. T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Americans. T-Mobile, America's network. And by Burger King, try the all-new Impossible Whopper, made from plans.
Zach Taylor's journey to becoming an NFL head coach started as a quarterback of Nebraska before he went to the Dolphins, the University of Cincinnati, eventually under Sean McVay, which we'll talk about. He's got some cool stories about that. And now the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals on first down. Andy Dalton throws, pass is incomplete. Flag is in, though. Tyler Eifert, the intended receiver. It's going to go against the Bengals.
Really a meteoric rise.
Illegal formation. Offense. Tight end was covered. The 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Really a meteoric rise. He was offensive coordinator at University of Cincinnati in 2006. Then he becomes a wide receiver coach at the Rams in 17, quarterback coach at 18, and here he is, one of the youngest coaches, second youngest coach to his former head coach Sean McVay in the NFL as a head coach.
He had a lot of nice things to say about Sean McVay, as we all know. First and 15, the Bills fans on their feet. Andy Dalton inside the 10, out of the gun. The handoff goes to Mixon, and Mixon up to the 25. Matt Milano with the tackle. Let's go back to JB and Phil in New York.
The Patriots getting it done.
Yeah, as usual, Sony Michel goes around the right side, basically untouched until he goes into the end zone. New England up 7-0. Tom Brady, ho-hum, 7-8 on that drive. Back to Tom and Jay.
Phil, thank you. Joe Mixon just had his longest run of the season of 11 yards.
Had a couple of longer ones called back, offensive holding the last couple of weeks.
Second and 4, Dalton. Fire into the far side, incomplete. Uzama was the intended receiver, and the very talented Tremaine Edmonds in on the coverage.
He's so good. Such a great young linebacker. Can get after your quarterback, strong in the run support, but also can cover. You saw it right there. Undercuts routes, a number of interceptions. Poyer had 2 last year that were deflected by Edmonds. He gets the interception. One of the stalwarts on this defense, Tremaine Edmonds.
They're down at 4. They need to get across the 29. Dalton out of the shotgun, pressure coming, incomplete. Tate thought there was pass interference from behind. It'll be 4th down for Cincinnati.
Number 1 pass defense in the NFL last year. This Bills defense doing an excellent job again this year. 6 right now in the NFL through 2 weeks. They bring pressure. They got great coverage. Nowhere to go with the ball for Andy Dalton. They get the ball back for their offense.
Kevin Huber, the Cincinnati native, back deep to receive is Andre Roberts.
And he's a threat. Andre Roberts, a Pro Bowler, to take it the distance.
Good hang time on this punt. And Roberts calls for the fair catch at the 27. Scoreless here in Buffalo. We'll be back. Talk about how good Josh Allen has been in the last 6 quarters. Remember, though, he's only 23 years old. There's still a little bit to learn.
The number 1 thing he told us he needed to work on this offseason was anticipation. You can see he's holding on to the ball too long. Had a couple opportunities. When McCray came off the corner, should have hit John Brown quick there, didn't do it. Ends up with the pressures. He got the sack by Atkins, and he needs to understand where to go with the ball quickly.
He's got first down for the 27. Off the play fake. He'll dump it off to Gore, and Gore makes a nice catch. And he has room along the far side. Vigil is able to track him down, but it's a first down run. Great concentration by Gore.
Frank Gore can do it all, and he just keeps churning along and goes into different offenses, different teams, doesn't matter. You see the shoes right there. Right there. Old school. It's like soccer cleats to be light. At his age, you do what you got to do.
Sean McDermott told us, because I don't know where he gets it from. He's probably got to be storage from when he first came into the league. Allen has time, throws near side. John Brown, a first down. Inside Bengals territory. William Jackson in on the coverage.
John Brown, because of his speed, he gets so much respect from the defensive backs. And then watch at the end here. They know he can take it deep, so they got to go. And he turns and boom, snaps it off. And that's an easy completion for Josh Allen.
Gain of 11 yards to the 49 of Cincinnati. Dave Ball, the offensive coordinator. Tommy Sweeney is in as an extra tight end. TJ Yeldon doesn't get anything. Let's go to New York with JB.
Pats are at it again.
They are. Philip Dorsett couldn't make it work in Indianapolis, but he's making it work up in New England. Tom Brady, 25-yard touchdown pass to him. The extra point was good. Tom Brady, 9 of 10, 125 yards, 1 touchdown. Back to Tom and the handsome Jay Feely.
Wow, the handsome Jay Feely. It's because you still have your hair.
Maybe. I got some of it. It's turning gray, though.
Second down at about 11. John Brown. He'll run it, try to get to the edge. To the 46-yard line. It's a gain of maybe 4. A little extra push at the end. Sam Hubbard. Good coverage by Hubbard. We talked a lot about the edge last week against San Francisco. That the Bengals defense wasn't getting to the edge enough. Well, that's a little bobble.
I wonder why John Brown bowed that back. I thought maybe he was trying to throw it. No, it was because he bobbled the ball. But you're right. That was the problem last week. For the Bengals defense, they weren't setting the edge. They allowed it much too easily for the 49ers to get up and down the field, to get outside. They even said the running backs didn't even have to break stride. Right. They were just whatever they wanted to do, a much better job today.
That's Sean Williams, who's down on the sidelines for the Bengals on 3rd down, 3rd and 6. Allen stands in the pocket. Pass is complete to Zay Jones. Kirkpatrick in on the coverage. I think that Josh Allen may have been hit late. There's a flag at the 48.
I think you're right, partner.
Gain of 22 yards.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 93. Only half an inch to the goal line. First down, Buffalo.
Well, that's going to add even more yardage to this pass play.
Josh Allen stands in there, can't step into it, and it's because he goes low. If you hit a quarterback below the knees, even if you start above the knees, that's going to get called every time. But Josh Allen couldn't step into that throw. Doesn't matter. He's got such a strong arm. Even without stepping into it, he can lace the ball in there.
Andrew Brown called for the penalty. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 12. Off the play fake. Beasley. Stop it on a dime. Fedula makes the tackle inside the 5.
Another late penalty.
Flag is sitting at the 11-yard line on the Bills' side of the field, so it was where the play occurred.
It was well after Beasley got tackled. I think it's going to be a face mask.
Personal foul, grabbing the helmet, defense. Carries half the distance to the goal line. First down, Buffalo.
So they'll call it on Fedulum, who's in for Williams.
Watch his left hand just reach back and grab the inside.
All right, so what do you like here? You got a quarterback that can run.
Not yet. Frank Gore, let the ageless wonder pound it in.
Throws, pass is complete. Dawson Knox, the rookie from Ole Miss.
That's one for you, partner.
His mom and dad are here to watch him play his first NFL game in Buffalo. That's a keeper. 7 straight completions now for Josh Allen. It's 6-0 Buffalo.
Nice play action fake. Get everybody sucked in, they're thinking run, and you find the rookie tight end for his first touchdown.
He had a great catch last week when Allen was on the run against the Giants. That's got to feel good.
It's actually Josh Allen's first touchdown this year when he's been outside the pocket throwing the ball.
And he does it so well, but you're in tight quarters down inside the 5 like that.
Everybody thinks of Josh Allen. They think of his legs, his ability to get outside the pocket and make plays, but 80% of his attempts are from the pocket so far this year. almost 80% of his passing yards, and like I said, 100% of his touchdowns before that play there.
Well, they're talking to Sean McDermott. I think there are 12 men on the field. They're going to go for 2 here. They're going to take the penalty.
You're going to get the ball to 1 yard
12 men on the defense. Buffalo has elected its option to enforce the penalty from the 2-yard line to the 1-yard line and go for a 2-point try.
All right, so from the 2-yard line to the 1-yard line.
So you think of this like a 3rd and 1 play, right? So far this year in the NFL, 71% for the offense on 3rd and 1. So why wouldn't you go for the 2-point conversion here? Try to put yourself up 8-0.
Frank Gore will be in the backfield for the Bills. If you're the Bengals, you're probably thinking the same thing. You got to be careful of Josh Allen running the football.
You got an empty backfield here. You got no running back right now.
That's Gore that's in motion.
And he comes back.
2-point conversion for the Bills. Allen roll in the pocket, and Beasley for the 2-point conversion. There is a flag down. Right now, 8-0 in favor of the Bills.
They could call a pick play here, offensive pass interference. They ran a little rub route for Beasley.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference as the block occurred within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage. PAT is good.
Dawson Knox, his first NFL touchdown. The Bills think first of many.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. And by Verizon, the network more people rely on.
Bills players Josh Allen, Tremaine Edmonds, and Mitch Moore surprised some tailgaters yesterday afternoon to thank the fans for arriving extra early for home opener. Josh was walking around with cookies just to top off the ribs.
He didn't bring us any
burgers.
cookies.
He did not. Some of us could probably stand to not have them. Bills will kick off. Darius Phillips back deep to receive for Cincinnati. He broke a couple tackles. He's got some daylight inside Bills territory, middle of the field. He's going to go in. There is a flag, however, and we'll keep an eye on that. The Bills are waving him back. It's a 92-yard return.
Darius Phillips from Western Michigan. I did a couple of his games and saw that game-breaking ability when he was at Western Michigan.
Holding. Return team. Number 19. Penalties 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down, Cincinnati.
So on the tape, one of the backup receivers called for the penalty. I think if you're the Cincinnati Bengals and their fans, though, you're seeing what this young man can do just by this return.
Well, he's going to bounce this return. You got to have contain. There's the containment. He cuts it back up inside, and it's a late penalty right there outside as he turns back. It's at the point of attack, and it's not a lot. But when it's at the point of attack and he starts to turn, you got to push and disengage. He didn't do that, and Darius Phillips doesn't have his first NFL kickoff return for a touchdown.
Look at Andy Dalton's reaction. He kind of saw it from where he was on the sidelines. He had his hands on his helmet.
That's what's happened to them. They've had penalties when they've had opportunities. It's brought it back. That would have been a major play in this game.
So first down for the 25. Boyd in motion. Gain of 3 yards. Tuesday on CBS, Ziva is back on the season premiere of television's #1 drama, NCIS. Tuesday, 8/7 Central on CBS. You like how they're getting Mixon involved here in the first quarter?
Well, they have to, because that's what this offense, this Zach Taylor offense that he brought from the Rams, everything they do, usually in 11 personnel, they want to be able to run the ball and then hit play action shots. And if you can't run the ball, play action doesn't work.
Second down and 7. Another handoff to Mixon. A lot of traffic there, and he's bumped back. He may have lost a yard. Edmonds and Phillips in on the tackle.
You know, I talked about 11 personnel. That means one running back, one tight end. Against the 49ers, they were in 11 personnel 86% of the times. Nobody used it in the NFL more than the Rams last year. And Sean McVay talked about what that did. When you have the same personnel and you give the defense the same look, it's really hard defensively to know exactly what you're going to do. You get creative, you get different motions, movements, but if you can't run the ball, this offense doesn't work.
Third down. Bengals need to get to the 35. Bills showing blitz from the outside. Dalton wobbles it to the near side, incomplete. Lorenzo Alexander got his hand in there and may have deflected it. It's fourth down.
This defense does that, Tom. They're the best in the NFL this year as well as last year, deflecting passes. They bring pressure here. Lorenzo Alexander gets his arm in there and impacts Andy Dalton, and because of the pressure in the interior, he can't step into this ball. It flutters harmlessly away, and the Bills get another stop.
Andre Roberts back deep to receive. He stands at his 22. 1:15 to play here in the first quarter. Just got that one off. Roberts comes up from the 34 and out of bounds inside the 40. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Pepsi. So it's 8-0. Bills on top. They'll have the football from the 38-yard line of Buffalo. Got about a minute left to play in this quarter after a 39-yard punt.
And it's important to note, they're going into the win, the Bills are. So when you get a lead going into the win, when you have a strong win like that, that's advantageous for your team.
Because you're going to get the win in your favor
in the next quarter.
Yeah. John Brown in motion. Allen to throw. Flags are flying to the far side, incomplete. Intended for Knox.
Anytime I played in a game where there was a lot of wind, your teams would talk about trying to win that quarter when
illegal
you're going into
formation,
the win.
offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
So illegal formation called against the Bills with 1 minute to play here in the first quarter. Now, I guess you guys probably talked about it even more as kickers because you look down the road. First 3 possessions for the Bills, couple punts, and then the touchdown on a 7-play, 73-yard drive. TJ Yeldon will spell Frank Gore. Lee Smith is the tight end in motion. Might get 2 tight ends. The pitch goes to Yeldon. And Yeldon hurdles over a defender. And they'll mark him up to the 42-yard line. Jesse Bates was the defender.
Nice play there. You fake the jet sweep, so you get the defense kind of leaning right, and then a quick pitch out to Yeldon, and he hits it outside. And that looked a lot like what we saw last week for that Cincinnati defense against the 49ers. The ability to get around the corner, to get the edge. Running backs getting 4 or 5 yards downfield before they were touched.
Yeldon getting more reps today because of the injury to Singletary. Frank Gore is back in. This is Knox again. And Knox has a first down, powering his way to the 50-yard line. Quarterback in high school, evolved into a tight end in college.
And how many times do you see a team do jet sweeps to a tight end? The only other one I think about is Travis Kelce at Kansas City. You've seen that a number of times, but showing that Brian Daboll has a lot of confidence in his young tight end.
Have an injured player down on the field. We had Sean Williams injured before. I think it might be Sean Williams again.
He's on the Bills sideline.
Yeah, it is Sean Williams for a second time. So whatever was hampering before may be hampering again.
Well, he kind of got run over as Knox went out of bounds. He ran right through Sean Williams.
15 seconds left. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Progressive Insurance. Williams is up on his feet. That's a good sign. You said it perfectly, Jay. He kind of got run over by Dawson Knox.
That's a big boy coming at you if you're a DB. He kind of gets up in the air, lands hard, and his head hits, and hopefully he's okay.
Knox was 5'10", 170 in high school, and then grew to 6'4" and 250 pounds now after walking on at Ole Miss, where his brother currently plays. All right, so Zach Taylor hoping his defense can get his offense back on the field. First down from the 49.
320.
Clock is winding down. They may just let this go and then get the wind at their back. Buffalo on top 8-0. The end of the first quarter. We'll be back with the second quarter right after this. In some ways, the numbers tell the story for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well, 0 passing yards in that first quarter, only 18 rushing yards, continuing the theme. But Andy Dalton has been able to throw the ball well and effectively the first 2 games. Not today. He's been pressured. I think that defense has done a good job giving him some different looks, confusing him.
Bills up 8-0. They have the ball first down for the 49 as we begin the second quarter. Frank Gore. And Gore inside the 45 to the 42-yard line. Hello, Jay Feely. I'm Tom McCarthy, our great crew here in Buffalo. It's a gorgeous day. Temperatures in the 80s.
Perfect. A lot better in December. You did the snow game here.
I did the snow game.
A couple years ago.
Couldn't see anything that was going on the field. You could see perfectly here. You would have loved the snow game as a kicker.
No, I would have hated it. That would have been awful. I've had those games.
That camera we're using for the shot, you couldn't even see where the Colts or the Bills were standing. On second down. Another pitch on the end around to McKenzie. And McKenzie is down to the 35-yard line. Do you like all this in this direction?
I do, and why I like it is because it worked last week, and offensive coordinators are going to keep doing something until you can stop it. And last week, the Bengals defense showed that they couldn't stop misdirection, and when that offensive Kyle Shanahan was giving you a lot of different looks, they were failing to set the edge, failing to keep contained, and we're seeing that again today. Jet sweeps, little tosses, Brian Dable not just running the ball straight ahead, getting the ball to playmakers on the edge. And he does have playmakers, there's no doubt about that. He's got a lot of speed. Yeldon is in the backfield. Play fake, looking for Brown. Brown had it in his hands and dropped it. Kirkpatrick in on the coverage. And that's one John Brown wishes he had back. It's a good pass. It was good timing.
Holding. Offense. Number 73. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Deion Dawkins called for the hold.
Even if he did catch it, it wouldn't have mattered. It was coming back. But Josh Allen wants to throw on time, wants to anticipate. Spent the offseason working with Jordan Palmer, trying to develop a better base, stay narrow on that first step, and anticipate throws better. So it was the number one thing he had to work on.
He said that Jordan Palmer understood which mechanics he needed to adjust in order to stay healthy and physically strong throughout the course of the year. On first down. Allen looking to set up the screen. He's got Yeldon. Yeldon breaks one tackle. Got a beach ball on the field, Jay. Not sure I've ever been to an NFL game where there's a beach ball that's rolling around the field.
I can see the wind and how it's blowing, and right now the Bills are going with the wind. That helps the kicker, and that has an impact when you're looking at field goals and distance and where you're going to be.
It's a pretty good save. Last day of summer, they're trying to get everything they can out of it, even bringing it to a football game.
They love their football here. There's nowhere better to watch football than Buffalo, New York, when the Buffalo Bills are winning.
Yeah, you said what were your two favorite places to come into as an opponent?
Buffalo and Green Bay. It harkens back to a great time.
Allen Teneby of 13 so far. He's got plenty of time, and now he's running out of time, but he's elusive for a big dude, and he dumps it off. Dawson Knox with another reception and a first down inside the 20.
A very good job in the secondary. You know, they're covering it up there, but that defensive line didn't get after Josh Allen. You can watch here in the secondary. Frank Gore was open for a second at the bottom of your screen down there. Josh Allen rolling to his left, and Knox does a good job coming back to get the catch.
We mentioned this before, that because Josh Allen runs a lot, if you're a receiver, you cannot stop a play until the play is over.
Always got to continue to go. Check back to the quarterback, and then also breaking deep. That's when a lot of big plays happen.
3 tight ends in the game for the Bills. Allen trips, fumbles, picks it back up, under pressure, throws, middle of the field, passes complete to Sweeney. Wow.
That's such a Josh Allen play right there.
I mean, he only got 3, but it was entertaining.
How many quarterbacks in the NFL, though, would pick this ball up and try to keep going? Most of them would just dive on it, protect it. Not only does he pick it up, he gets outside the pocket, and then he gets a completion.
So the 2 rookie tight ends getting involved in this first half. Second down. Four out of the backfield, design run. Not much there, and that's a smart move.
That's the play we saw, a little quarterback sweep for a touchdown. Good job by the Bengals defense staying home, that time setting the edge, forcing Josh Allen to run back inside and getting a stop.
All right, so this is where the Bills have been successful. 6 possessions, 6 touchdowns this season. I'm not a mathematician, but that's perfect. That's 100%.
They've done a really good job in the red zone and on third down. And on third down, John Brown has been his man. He's up top, at the top of your screen. It's single coverage.
Plenty of time on the play clock. Underneath to Yeldon, and he sensed that Nick Vigil was there. Nick Vigil, Preston Brown, those are 2 really good linebackers for Cincinnati.
You know, Josh Allen there went to Yeldon. He had Beasley open. If he went to the other side, Beasley ran an underneath route, little out route.
24-yard field goal attempt, or excuse me, 34-yard field goal attempt for Hauschka with the wind at his back. Good snap. Kick is up, and it is good. It is 11-0 Bills. 10:29 to play in the first half. Sean McDermott's team is up by 11. Somebody who has hair envy, that's a little bit too much hair, to be honest with you.
I think you should rock that for Halloween.
Yeah,
look for you.
I may never give it back. Andy Dalton has returned to Buffalo, which has certainly been a story since he helped the Bills with a victory over the Ravens get to the postseason a couple of years ago. He'll get the football back in just a moment as the kickoff goes over the head of Phillips and out of the back of the end zone. Week 17, Andy Dalton hit Tyler Boyd with 44 seconds left. That gave the Bengals the lead over the Ravens. What happened in Buffalo? Well, they hadn't gone home. That's the locker room. Kyle Williams, a special moment with his 2 young boys.
That's so cool.
The first playoff berth for the Bills since '99. Bills fans flooded Andy and his wife's foundation with over
$150,000. And Tyler Boyd's as well, $100,000.
Incredible. Giovanni Bernard in for the first time today. Dalton quick pass near side. Pass is complete. It's Ross. He fumbled the ball and the Bills pick it up. Lorenzo Alexander.
They get their first completion. John Ross got to have the ball on the left arm outside. They rip it out. Carlos Hyde did such an unbelievable job of getting in there. Micah Hyde did, and ripping that ball out.
Yeah, it's Carlos Hyde who ripped it out. It was actually Matt Milano who fell on top of it. Hyde and Poyer have been so good for this franchise since they came over.
And Micah Hyde, when he came over from Green Bay, not really celebrated, but he's had 7 interceptions for the Bills and really turned this Bills team around. Hyde and Poyer, the relationship they have, how well they know each other, the ability to hide coverages, confuse quarterbacks.
Yeah, we asked Micah Hyde the other day if it was better than he anticipated. He said, well, it was exactly what I hoped. First down for the Bills from the 38-yard line for Josh Allen. They'll keep it. Has room inside the 35. Kansas City has scored. Let's go to JB in New York.
Phil, an embarrassment of riches.
Man, greatness. That's what you see from Patrick Mahomes. Falling backwards, jumps in the air, hits DeMarcus Robinson for a touchdown. That's the third touchdown catch of the year for Robinson. The Kansas City Chiefs 14, Baltimore 6. Back to Tom McCarthy and Jay Feely.
All right, Phil, thank you.
It's a high-flying game, and they got a lot of weather there, a lot of rain. Thought it might slow him down, but not Kansas City.
It's just so hard to slow him down. On second down, Yeldon. And Yeldon down to the 30. A gain of about 4. Carlos Dunlap makes the tackle. Well, let's see if the Bills can capitalize on the turnover. The Bengals defense has been out on the field an awful lot in this worn first half.
They have, and you get worn down, and it's interesting, this Bengals defense, they run mostly nickel, stayed in nickel almost the entire time against the 49ers, even as they ran up and down the field. When you have these short yardage plays, that can be an issue. Bills spread them out, no running back, empty.
Play clock at 1. Allen underneath to Beasley, and Beasley to the 25-yard line. Jermaine Pratt in on the tackle.
Allen missed Beasley on the last third down, finds him this time. They run the choice route, which just allows Beasley to go, run about 4 yards downfield, and then set that defender up and go whichever way he wants, and breaks outside. A nice completion. Josh Allen talked about how they had to work so much together in this offseason because Beasley's cuts, he said when he cuts, his hips almost touch the ground.
Well, he gets a first down to the 25-yard line. Beasley did not have a good first half against the Jets to start this season, but since that time he's come alive. Allen thought about running, now goes to the end zone, and it's broken up. What a recovery by Dre Kirkpatrick.
Dre Kirkpatrick's had a tough start to this season. Coming into this game, he had 10 targets against him, 8 receptions and a perfect passer rating, but he's able to get over there. Josh Allen had to float that ball. Because he couldn't drive it, it gave time for Kirkpatrick to get over there, and his tight end didn't. If he brings that ball in immediately and catches it, I think he keeps it and catches it because he bobbled it. Kirkpatrick was able to get over and knock it away.
Bengals coaching staff told us in the meetings yesterday what an impact Kirkpatrick has had on William Jackson, the young corner from Houston. On second down at 10. And now a timeout called as the play clock was down to 1. It may have gotten to 0.
Prior to the play clock expiring.
So they got the timeout in. 11-0 Buffalo on top.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the all-new 2020 Jeep Gladiator. This seat is reserved for the restless. Amazon Prime. One-day delivery on millions of items with Prime. And by McCafe Premium Roast Coffee. Good is brewing.
Frank Gore has played for the Niners, the Colts, the Dolphins, now the Bills. His 15th NFL season. Over 14,800 yards rushing. Number 4 in the history of the National Football League. Allen to the near side, incomplete. He had his tight ends, Dawson Knox, and he just couldn't hang on.
Really good throw by Josh Allen. Had a good pocket, stepped up, delivered this ball, and this is a play that you have to make. You know, you're in the NFL, you got to catch that pass, and Knox would like to have that one back.
Sean Williams, that's good to see too. He was in on the coverage, so he's back in after being nicked up a couple times today. All right, so now Cincinnati down 11-0, and it's the first time the Bills have ever had an 11-0 lead in a game ever. They can stop him here.
Josh Allen's got to be smart. They're in field goal range. We talked about that progression for him, not forcing things.
On third down, pressure from behind. Pass is complete. Zay Jones And Jones dives to the first down marker. Vigil and Kirkpatrick were there. And he's going to be shy of the first down.
Yeah, the fans don't like that spot. Here he comes, he's diving.
Boy, I don't know. I think that's a first down.
I did too. He reaches that ball. He didn't step out. He's reaching the ball forward, so it's where the ball is. Very close.
And Cleve Lakeman overrules the line judge.
Excellent job here by Zay Jones, understanding where the first down marker is, stretching the ball out, and getting a first down for his team.
Well, it keeps the drive alive to the 15-yard line. And everything's clicking for the Bills today. And you look on the opposite end for Zach Taylor and his Bengals offense. It's not clicking.
They need to stop here defensively.
Yeah, even to force a field goal attempts.
It got away from him in a hurry last week, and then it got ugly. And if you're the Bengals, you can't allow that to happen again.
Timeout called. I think there's also a challenge flag by Zach Taylor from the far side.
Cincinnati is challenging the ruling of the field as a spot and the first down.
You like that challenge? It looked pretty clear.
I don't like it because of this. It has to be definitive that he didn't get the first down. I don't think it was definitive.
Cleve Lakeman told us during the break that the call stands, so the Bills will have a first down for the 15-yard line. It wasn't confirmed.
Right.
It stands.
There wasn't definitive evidence to overturn it.
Right.
You have to think about it that way when you're going to throw the challenge flag.
Yeldon in the backfield. The pitch goes to Yeldon. He's got some blockers, and he fumbled the football. It's recovered on the 10-yard line. The Bengals say they have it. It's Cincinnati football. Preston Brown in his return to Buffalo recovered it. This is a massive hit right here. It's Hubbard who rips it out.
Absolutely needed a big play. I said it got away from him last week. If the Bills go in and score there, go up 18-0, it certainly could get away. And that Bengals defense comes in, gets the strip. Hubbard with an excellent play from behind. TJ Yeldon hasn't had a lot of carries because it's been Gore and Singletary. He gets his opportunity and he puts it on the ground.
Singletary out with that hamstring injury. That's why he's not playing today. There's Hubbard.
Now, can this Bengals offense do something?
On first down, Dalton, quick toss to Boyd, and Boyd is hit behind the line of scrimmage, a loss on the play. Well, Neal came up and read it beautifully.
It's an aggressive defense. They want to be downhill. Their linebackers play 3-4 yards, and they're coming forward. The DBs come up and tackle in this Leslie Frazier defense. Your DBs have to be able to tackle. Every guy on that field can step up and make tackles for the Buffalo Bills.
This is only the 12th play of this first half for the Bengals. Time of possession heavy to the Bills. On second down, Giovanni Bernard.
And here's the frustration for the Bengals fan base, for the players, the organization. You brought Zach Taylor in. You took a risk and hired this young coach because he's an offensive guru and he's going to bring the offense that's so explosive from the LA Rams. Well, we haven't seen that, especially here today.
Yeah, they're without Cordy Glenn. He's got a concussion. Michael Jordan, he's also out. He was hurt last week. Alex Redmond serving a suspension for 4 games.
Their first-round pick, Jonah Williams, got hurt. He's out for the season. He tore his labrum, so they got a lot of issues on that offensive line.
Play clock is down to 7. Dalton from the gun. Quick toss far side. Ooh. Short gain. It'll be 4th down, and the Bengals, after the grab by Tate, will have to punt.
Short game, but a big hit by Lorenzo Alexander coming in there. We talk a lot about Frank Gore and his longevity. Lorenzo Alexander came into this league as a special teams player, found a spot with the Bills where they had utilized his talent out on the field, making plays defensively, and they love what he brings from a captain's perspective, coming out there, leadership, the right attitude. He's a perfect fit for Sean McDermott.
Yeah, this is a guy that started his career as an offensive lineman with the Redskins. On 4th down, Huber's punt. Roberts says get away. It takes a Bills bounce. And it'll be fielded at the 44. Let's go to New York with JB and Phil.
If you're Mahomes, what do you tell the receivers?
Just run as fast as you can run, and I will get it there. Look at this strike to McCole Hardman. 85-yard touchdown play. It put Kansas City up 20-6 over Baltimore. They missed the extra point. And it's exciting Kansas City offense. Back to Tom McCarthy and the stout Jay Feely.
All right, Phil, thank you very much. Weather's not slowing the Kansas City Chiefs down at all. Coming up with the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. 30-yard punt.
Yeah, into the wind. We talked about
Correct.
that.
And Allen hands it off to Gore, who is hit right away as he maybe gained a yard on that. All right, we talked about temperatures are in the 80s today, so this Bengals defense, whew, they've been on the field a long time.
And you had one right here where you're in field goal range at second possession. Josh Allen throws the ball out of bounds. He gets a penalty for intentional grounding, backs him up. They aren't able to kick the field goal and they have to punt, but moving the ball effectively. Like a big fumble there on the last possession.
4.5 to play in the first half. John Brown in motion on second down. Allen looking that way and has Brown. Sidesteps 3 defenders before he's eventually taken down at the 33. Nick Vigil with the tackle. Gain of about 13.
Bring Brown in motion, understanding where to sit down. When they're in a zone, understanding where the window is. And John Brown has such a good feel, veteran, been all over the league, understands offense really well. I thought it was interesting. He said this was the hardest offense he had to learn. You know, as a rookie, Bruce Arians' offense is very difficult on a receiver. He plays so many different positions. They're moving John Brown around here. They're not just putting him at the X. Brian Dable said, hey, if you want to just play the X, that's fine, but you're not going to get as many balls.
There's Gore again, and Gore is hit at the line of scrimmage. Andrew Billings has had a couple big tackles for the Bengals. No gain. 2nd and 10. We've talked a lot about John Brown, but Josh Allen has hit 5 different receivers.
Beasley's got 4 catches today. They found him on the 2-point conversion. Zay Jones had the nice one where he stretched for the first down.
Let me correct that. He's hit 8 different receivers in this first half. 5 different runners. Second down. Far side. Beasley complete.
Speaking of that wide receiver corps, they totally remade it this year. They had big possession receivers with wide catch radius. They went in the offseason, overhauled this entire offense. We talked about all the different players, 2 new starting receivers, 3 new running backs, 4 new tight ends, 4 new offensive line starters. But they even switched philosophically with the wide receiver position and brought in guys like Beasley and Brown, quick guys that can get in and out of breaks and give Josh Allen easy throws.
Yeah, he's certainly got weapons.
John Brown up at the top, singled up.
As we head toward the 2-minute warning, that one-on-one coverage produces a first down for John Brown. It looked like he grabbed it. They call it a catch.
If I see John Brown in single coverage, I'm looking for him. He's so quick he can get off. Did he get that ball in before it hit the ground?
6-yard pass play. We've reached the 2-minute warning. Bills on top 11-0 over the Bengals.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Buffalo Wild Wings. Eat, drink, and breathe football and wings. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
Bills just converted what we think is a first down.
I think it was incomplete.
Right.
We went back and looked at it. You're going to see a good look here. There's the ball hitting the ground.
And Zach Taylor has thrown the challenge flag now because he has to do it. Even though we hit 2 minutes, the play happen outside 2 minutes. Gene Steratore joins us. Gene, is that right? Outside 2 minutes, it's got to be a coach's challenge.
Cincinnati is challenging the ruling in the last play. The pass was completed for a first down.
Gene, outside of 2 minutes, just even though it ran down to 2 minute warning, it was outside 2 minutes, so that's why he had to throw the challenge flag.
That's exactly right. When the play initiates or starts outside of the 2 minute warning, if we end up at the 2 minute warning at the end of the play, it is still a coach challenge. I do agree also that the one angle that we get shows that that football appears to go through the arms and bounce off of the ground. At that point right there, I do believe they will overturn this to incomplete.
Thanks, Gene. It's important to note, too, Zach Taylor used the challenge earlier on the Zay Jones play. He didn't win that challenge, so he lost that challenge. This is his second challenge.
That's a great point, Jay, because he lost that first one. Even though this one's successful, he's finished with his red flag for the remainder of the day.
Wow, okay. Well, I think he has to do it here. I don't know. I mean, I think we're all in agreement of that.
It's third down. Yeah. It's a critical down. You're trying to keep your team in the game. It's going to be a long field goal if it's overturned, which we believe it is.
Yeah, Sean just said it's going to be a field goal, so he's already sending Hauschka out to attempt a field goal. Clete Blakeman with the headset off. Boy, Gene's done such a great job for us here at CBS these last 2 years. Yep. Not only with the NFL, but also now college football and the NCAA tournament.
Really fun guy to hang around with, too. I love spending time with Gene.
All right, so Clete Blakeman.
Feelings are mutual, Jay.
You're always listening, aren't you?
I'm always
After
here,
review of
Jay.
the play, it is an incomplete pass as the ball hit the ground. Brings up fourth down from the 27-yard line. Please put 2 minutes, 16 seconds on the game clock, 2:16.
Yeah, you had to challenge it because, let's face it, the Bills were moving, and they were heading towards 6. And now they have to settle for field goal attempts.
A 45-yard field goal in windy conditions. Stephen Hauschka, since he came here to Buffalo, has been such a good kicker. One of the best kickers in the NFL in his time here. Really underrated guy. You know, a guy who is just spectacular. His long is 58. Plenty of leg here. The wind is at his back.
2 for 2 on the year. 1 for 1 today. As Jay said, this is a 45-yard field goal attempt from the far hash. He gets it off. Lee gets it off. And it's good. Lee gets it off. So 14-0 Buffalo with 2:11 to play here in the first half. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cowler for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. That's all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report.
What I loved about the Stephen Hauschka signing here with Buffalo was he doesn't hit a high ball. And that was why Seattle wanted to get rid of him. They didn't like some of the blocks that he had. Pete Carroll talked to me about that. But in a windy condition like this, it's perfect. You want that ball just to get above the line and then not to rise, because the higher the ball you hit, the more the wind impacts it. Impacts it when your ball gets to the apex. So he's a perfect fit to kick here in Buffalo, and he's done an unbelievable job for them.
Boy, that's a really good point. I mean, to bring something like that up, that even the elements in certain cities would affect certain kickers. Like, were you a high ball kicker?
No, I wasn't. I was more similar to Stephen Hauschka.
So the Meadowlands was good for you.
It was good. I was a good fit there.
Phillips back deep to receive. Hauschka's kickoff will go over his head and out of the back of the end zone. All right, so Andy Dalton, this is a seasoned veteran who now has 2 minutes and 11 seconds plus a couple timeouts.
He comes into the game. He's second in the NFL with 729 yards passing. Right now he's 3 for 8 for 7 yards. One of his completions, his receiver Ross catches it and then fumbles. It's been a very tough time for this offense, but you have a veteran quarterback. Allow him to go to work right here. That offensive line has got to give him time because he's been under pressure. Came into the game with the third most pressures in the NFL.
First down for the 25. Dalton has the ball batted in the air, incomplete. Well, that's the 18th pass deflection by this defense for the Bills, and that has also helped their cause this year.
This is coached. It's not just happenstance. They know that timing is of essence for offenses. They understand when to get their hands up. If you haven't beaten your man, get the hand up, deflect those passes. It's something that Leslie Frazier and Sean McDermott coach They know when the quarterback is going to get set, he's going to get rid of the ball. Get your hands up, deflect the pass.
Second down and 10. Trent Murphy was the man who got his hand on that one. Dalton has time, middle of the field. Pass is complete, middle of the field. Tate, and he's down close to midfield. That was the best ball that Andy Dalton's thrown today.
He finally had time. He had a clean pocket. He was able to deliver. He had an underneath route, chose to be more aggressive and go down the field to Tate and get a big completion.
Well, we've reached another 2-minute warning, 1:57 to play. These two teams have faced each other a lot in the regular season, but they've also faced each other in the postseason. This year marks the 100th year of the National Football League. Our Boomer Esiason with his blonde locks led the Bengals to a 1988 AFC Championship. Ickey Woods shuffled his way to 2 touchdowns. Jim Kelly threw 3 interceptions. The Bengals won 21-10. They advanced to the Super Bowl. He was a little fella at that point.
That's right. The late, great Sam Weish is the head coach. I was doing my Ickey shuffle up here while they were playing that.
First down for the 49. Dalton, pressure from behind, pass is incomplete. It was almost a one-handed grab by Boyd. It'll be second down. This would have been a wonderful grab.
You know, we haven't mentioned it. We've mentioned it at the beginning, but A.J. Green out. You can tell that this offense really misses A.J. Green. Everything that he does, as good as he is, the competitor that he is, you never like to see when there's big injuries and we lose great players in the NFL, those exciting players that everybody comes to watch.
1:51 to play in the first half. 2 timeouts left for Cincinnati. 3 receivers to the right for Dalton. He's going to the right. He's got a man incomplete. Ross was open. He had a step and a half on his defender, and he just couldn't reel it in.
Ross has had a couple of good games. This has been a really poor game for him. It's a great ball, a nice move, a double move. Andy Dalton places it right in there, and you got to come down with the ball. That ball is there. Go up, catch the ball. He's had a couple of drops. He had the big fumble. It's been a tough game for John Ross.
There's A.J. Green. You know, he wants to be out there.
Yeah, he's like, give me that ball. Let me go out there and make plays. Hopefully he's able to get back on that field quickly.
Bengals facing a third down. They need to get to the 41. Bernard in the backfield. Dalton steps up. Pressure's coming. He tripped up and he's down. Jordan Phillips with his first sack of the year for the Bills. There is a flag down, however.
Buffalo takes its second timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
All right, they picked the flag up. Never mind.
Please put 1 minute, 35 seconds on the game clock. 1:35.
You know, I think this defense doesn't get a lot of credit because there's not a lot of stars. But look at the 4-man pressure here. You force Andy Dalton to step up, force him to his left, and relentless pressure, relentless effort from this defense. That's really what this defense is based on. All 11 guys knowing what to do, getting after them both in the secondary and up front. And because they don't have stars, I don't think people recognize how good they've been. They were second best defense, total defense last year in the league. They're one of the best again this year. And this defense is why this team is a legit contender this year.
Bills used a timeout, so they'll get it back. A 14-0. Uber a long snap count. Play clock is down to 4. Roberts assessing. Has it at the 15. Did not call a fair catch. Breaks a couple tackles before he's ripped down by Preston Brown. Saturday, the SEC on CBS features Ole Miss running into Tuscaloosa to upset on their mind when they challenge Tua and the second-ranked Crimson Tide. It all kicks off with college football today at 3 Eastern here on CBS. Dawson Knox has a touchdown today. He's hoping his Ole Miss team can stay close to Alabama.
I doubt it.
You know, Ole Miss has a quarterback on their roster who's going to be emulating Tua this week.
Yeah, does he have speed?
Their son Sellers Shy, our producer Sellers Shy's son. Here's his touchdown. Young Sellers is a freshman. He brought the flag out yesterday for Ole Miss, so mom and dad were pretty proud of that. Flags come flying in.
Encroachment. Defense. Number 93. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
I've said Tuscaloosa so many times in my life, and I just couldn't get it out there.
Sometimes that happens to the best of us. 1:23 left. Buffalo's got one timeout. So what do you do if you're Brian Daboll? Do you be aggressive here in this 2-minute drive? You have the wind at your back? I think so, because there's going to be a time where you're going to need a 2-minute drill to win a game. Josh Allen's had 3 come from behind victories already.
On 1st and 5, Allen will keep it himself. And he's got a first down. Fumbled the football. And it looks like...
Wow, this is a big call.
It looks like he's out of bounds, is what they're saying.
That ball was inbounds. After he fumbled it, the Bengals recovered.
Now, again, the Bengals have no challenge left, but they don't have to worry about it because we're within 2 minutes. What did the Bengals say to us? Preston Brown?
That ball is out, and he's inbounds.
Preston Brown said to us that he carries the football in his right arm, so we're going to go after it.
They got to look at this play.
They have to. Brandon Wilson's the one who knocked it loose, and now they're going to look at it. I mean, this is a huge play.
Enormous. The Bengals recovered this ball. There's no question in my mind. He was inbounds when he fumbled. The Bengals recovered. Here's going to be the key. Were they out of bounds when they recovered this ball? You're going to see the legs are draped on the sideline.
The previous play is under review.
Again, we're inside 2 minutes, so this is a booth review. Josh Allen certainly lost this ball, but let's see if the Bengals recovered in bounds. A couple of things happened here on this play. Take a listen to the whistle and look at Jerry Bergman, the official, who blew this play dead even before Nick Vigil fell on top of it because he thought Josh Allen went out of bounds.
Yeah, he thought Josh Allen stepped out, but you can clearly see that the ball is out before Josh Allen steps out.
All right, Gene Steratore. Gene, the ball is definitely out by looking at this replay. Is Nick Vigil in bounds at that point, or does the whistle blow it dead totally at that point?
You know, there is a lot to unpack, and all of your points are well taken. It appears to me that Nick Vigil's foot is above and doesn't hit out of bounds prior to him possessing the ball. And it does look like the down judge is killing the clock.
Yeah.
I actually can't hear the whistle here.
After review of the play,
but let's hear what
ruling of field has been changed. The quarterback fumbled the ball at the 27-yard line. The ball went out of bounds forward. Therefore, we'll bring the ball back to the 27-yard line. It'll be Buffalo's ball at that spot. Please put 1 minute 17 seconds on the game clock.
All right, so Gene, they're saying that Nick Vigil did not have control and that the ball went out of bounds, so it will be Buffalo football.
Exactly right. And what they're saying, too, is that if Nick Vigil, any part of his body is touching out of bounds, whether he has possession or not, it's immediately out of bounds. So I'm assuming that that is what they've ruled after they've reviewed the play.
Well, that's a huge break for the Bills. Take a listen again. Again, the down judge is Jerry Bergman, and he blows this dead.
But even though he blew it dead,
made the line to gain prior to the fumble. So from that spot, it'll be first down, Buffalo.
Yeah, and it's also a kick in the pants for the Bengals because now it's a first down also for the Bills.
And that's what you risk if you're Buffalo right now, sitting here with a 14-0 lead, and you're aggressive in your play calling, and you're trying to get down there and score. You risk turning it over, and that's really, you feel the only way you can let Cincinnati back in the game.
Gene, we appreciate your help as always.
Thanks, guys. I'm here if you need me.
Thank you, buddy. First down from the 27. Beasley underneath to the 33. Vigil in on the tackle.
Buffalo not really in a hurry here. They have one timeout.
27 yards to go to the 40, which is essentially Hauschka's target line. Allen steps up. He's going to run. And he dives forward. He wanted to slide at one point.
You need to hurry and get to the line and clock it and keep your timeout.
Yeah, because they're down to 28 seconds, 27 and counting. And there's the clock.
Now you want to be aggressive. Now you're trying to get in field goal range and allow Stephen Hauschka to attempt a long field goal. You were right, Tom. The 40-yard, that's where they're looking at. As long as his career is 58, he can certainly go past that, and he has the wind at his back.
He hasn't had a lot of opportunities this year. He's He's made the 2 field goals today. He's 3 for 3. His career long 58 yards back in 14.
With a timeout here, you can go anywhere. You can go sideline, you can go the interior.
They go to the middle to T.J. Yeldon. And Yeldon lowers his shoulder and is inside the 45 to the 44.
Now.
Jesse Bates makes the tackle for the Bengals, and they did use the timeout.
Buffalo takes its third and final timeout. This will be a 30-second timeout.
All right, so at this point, as a kicker, what is Stephen Hauschka thinking? Is he looking at the wind? Is he feeling the wind?
He's looking at the distance first. He knows it's going to be about a 62-yard field goal. He's thinking about the wind. It's at his back, moving a little left. It was nice. He just had a field goal, so he got to see how it impacted the ball. So I think he's pretty confident right now. And you're just trying to get yourself mentally prepared. Offensively, you can't take a sack here. You can't throw the ball in bounds. You probably won't have time to spike it with 14 seconds left if you get to the line. So you're looking to try to get this ball, maybe pick up 6 yards and throw it to the sideline and get out of bounds.
John Brown is stretched to the outside. Allen steps up and he throws it toward the end zone for Zay Jones. He overthrew him. He was open, too.
He had him.
I mean, he was
wide open. Watch Zay Jones at the bottom of your screen. Look at how wide open he is there. Just wide open. And Josh Allen had to step up in the pocket. He wasn't able to set, had to throw on the run there, and the ball just sailed on him. And you're going to see a long field goal here. This will be a career long for Stephen Hauschka, 62 yards.
He's 11 of 16 beyond 50 yards with Buffalo. He's made 27 beyond 50 in his career. But this will be a career high from the near hash with the wings. And it's going to be short as the clock winds down to 2 seconds to play.
So the Bengals have time here if they want to try to throw a Hail Mary. Now it's into the wind, and it's a strong wind to try and get that down there.
The way the clock was that the only option for the Bills, you think, or they have a chance to do one more play?
No, I think they had to kick it there.
Okay. There is a flag that's at the 42-yard line. But I believe it may have just fallen out of the official's pocket, which is apparently what happened earlier in the game. We said there was a flag down. They picked it up. So it's going to be spotted at the 48-yard line of the Bills. And Andy Dalton certainly has enough arm to get to the end zone.
Yeah, he's thrown into the wind. So that has an impact, obviously, on that ball.
This is where you'd love to have A.J. Green, wouldn't it?
Oh, it'd be wonderful. Throw it up, allow your playmaker to go up and catch the ball.
On first down for the 48. 2 seconds left. I believe there may have been movement.
False start. Offense, number 71. It's 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
So movement by the offensive line. Andre Smith, the veteran.
So now you're 53 yards to get in the end zone.
Now they have 5 defenders back playing essentially center field. So they've moved them from the 3-yard line up to the 10-yard line.
You could see him try and check this down and try to make a play like the Chiefs did against the Cowboys.
Dalton from the gun. Pressure coming. Throws to the far side. He's got Tate. And Tate inside the 30 trying to break some tackles. And he's to the 20-yard line. And that's where the half will come to a close. The ball did come loose at the ends. The end of the first half, it's Buffalo 14, Cincinnati nothing. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon. And a word from your local station. Well, the Extreme Dogs, the stunt team, have put on quite a show here at halftime in Buffalo, where the Bills are on top 14-0. That looked like a John Brown, the way he received the football in the first half for the Bills. Let's take a look at our first half highlight presented by DirecTV. Dawson Knox, his first career NFL touchdown on the pass from Josh Allen. This was a beauty. This was the only touchdown of the first half for the Bills because they had a couple of field goals as well. Let's take a look at the first half statistics. And obviously everything dominated, particularly time of possession, Jay. This Bengals defense was out on the field a long time.
Yeah, I'm sure they got worn down in that half. Almost half the yards for the Bengals came on that last play. It was a brutal first half offensively for Cincinnati, and Buffalo did what they want to do. They want to win games kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Like they want to go. They were smart using play action. Last week, San Francisco was very effective against Cincinnati using play action. You saw that a couple times down on the goal line, and I think you're going to continue to see that.
Cincinnati, we've talked about the fact that their offensive line is not the offensive line they expected. That happens in football. It's just happened earlier for the Bengals. Andy Dalton's been pressured a lot so far today.
Pressure on Andy Dalton, inability to run the ball for Cincinnati, and then Josh Allen spreading the ball around.
Yeah, let's look at the QB comparison from the first half. Josh Allen, 18 of 27, 180 yards, and then 64 yards passing for Andy Dalton.
And for me, the 8 different players with the reception for Josh Allen, that's key. He hasn't been fixated on just John Brown or Beasley. Spreading the ball around. He's had a couple of drops as well.
Yep.
And this is you feel if you're Buffalo, it should be a bigger lead than it is.
There's Andy Dalton tucked behind the coaches and Josh Allen as we get set to begin the second half. John Feliciano, by the way, for the Bills is out from their offensive line. They have a little more depth, though, right now than the Bengals. Bengals, though, will get the football to begin the second half. This ball dives in the winds. And Phillips comes running up and is knocked out of bounds inside the 30. Jordan Poyer make the special team hit.
Remember, in that first half, Phillips returned a kick for a touchdown. It was called back on a holding call that really you didn't need to do it. That would have been a huge play for the Bengals. And much like a lot of their season, those big plays have come back on penalties.
So the Bengals will begin from the 30-yard line. Cincinnati 30. Andy Dalton under center. We saw Giovanni Bernard a lot in the back end of the first half. And he'll check in the backfield for the first time.
Here's Dalton checking the play.
Which Zach Taylor told us that he wanted him to do, take ownership. There's a deflection, but Boyd grabs it out of the air, and he's up to the 42-yard line. Poyer in on the tackle, and it's a gain of 11 to begin the second half.
Yeah, Zach Taylor said a lot of times in this offense, you don't want the quarterback because you're dialing up certain plays for specific reasons, but with Andy Dalton and how smart he is, he trusts him. If he checks, if he thinks there's a better play to get into, he told Andy Dalton, go ahead and do it, check into it. They were lucky to get that completion off the deflection. Again, we keep talking about it, deflections for this Bills defense.
Micah Hyde was the one who deflected it. Second one of the day for the Bills on first down. They're going to run the football, and it's a positive gain up close to the 45. So Joe Mixon back in, a gain of 4. It'll be second down at 6.
5 attempts for 22 yards for Mixon. Only 25 yards rushing. It's just been a brutal day for this offense.
Joe Mixon, who was really accountable this past week after his first 2 weeks, which resulted in an injury in game 1. He said, I need to be better. Dalton is under pressure. That looked like a blown play. And he'll just keep the drive alive. It'll be third down and long.
Leslie Frazier doesn't bring pressure a lot, but he brought pressure there, came right up the middle. Dalton had nowhere to go but to throw the ball away.
It was Trent Murphy who was there in on the pressure for the Bills. Still manageable, though. Third down and 6 for the Bengals.
Yeah, you have to put drives together. You have to have something positive. If you're Zach Taylor, you went in at halftime, you made adjustments. We need to see them. They didn't do that last week against the 49ers.
With the play clock down under 5. Dalton steps up to the pocket. He's hit and he's taken down.
Watch Johnson here. He's coming off the edge. Andy Dalton sees him and adjusts. Watch Andy Dalton here adjust. Well, it's afterwards. Johnson flips, goes to the other side, and then Dalton runs right into Johnson. Just a great job of chess for that Buffalo Bills defense. Show the quarterback something, wait for him to adjust, and then boom, you flip it to the other side, and you get a big stop.
How much having Poyer and Hyde and being veterans, does that help that?
It's tremendous, because you can trust them back there.
Huber's punt. Roberts at the 16 along the sidelines. And it's up to the 28-yard line. There is a flag down that sits at the 43. of the Bengals. And here is Clete Blakeman. He's going to let us know what happened.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 41. Plays half the distance to the goal line from the end of the kick. First down, Buffalo.
Maurice Alexander will move the football back for the Bills. We'll be back right after this.
That was the hold right there, Maurice Alexander. He held it. Cost Buffalo a lot of field position yardage. Half the distance to the goal.
They move the football down to the 8-yard line. It's where the catch was made on the punt. And Gore goes up to the 10-yard line. It's a gain of 2. Sean Williams makes the tackle. How good is it to see Sean Williams back in this game? And he was taken out 2 different times in the first half.
Yeah, I hate any injuries. I hate seeing injuries. You want to see everybody out there. You want everybody healthy. The Bills, we talked about at the beginning, they lost John Feliciano, who's been one of the surprises this year. He's played really well for this Buffalo offense.
Signed a free agent deal after 4 years with Oakland. So go to Gore again, and Gore up the middle. And Gore across the 20, up across the 25 to the 26-yard line. Man.
That looked like a running back who's in his 15th season. Oh. Unbelievable.
Gain of 15 yards. Williams and Bates make the tackle.
Look at him just picking his way through there. His little soccer shoes that we talked about. Very good run from Frank Gore.
That's his longest run. This is a guy who was talked into coming to Buffalo. He saw it from a distance when he was in Miami, but talked into coming to Buffalo by LaShawn McCoy, who ironically he has taken over for as the main back now. With Singletary being out with the injury and a timeout called by Cincinnati, they had too many men on the field.
Cincinnati takes its first time out of the half. 30-second timeout.
So that's the second time they've had too many men on the field. The first time they got a penalty. The second time now they have to burn a timeout. That's on coaching. Players as well, you got to be accountable, but as a coaching staff, you have to know how many guys you're out. They had a penalty earlier on a field goal attempt, but then Buffalo was able to go down and turn it into a touchdown. Or go for 2, I'm sorry. They went for 2.
So spot the ball at the 26-yard line. There's Andrew Brown. He was the guy who got out late. Ball at the 26-yard line. They're looking at Frank Gore's shoes. Well, go to my closet. I've got a bunch of them in there. You can't buy them anywhere, though. On first down. Again, a little misdirection by the Bills. It's McKenzie for the second time in that little pitch at the end around of the 31.
Nice cut by McKenzie. Cincinnati set the edge. He couldn't get wide. Cut it up there and picked up 5 yards.
Beasley will check back into the game. Out of the game is Lee Smith, the tight end. 8 different receivers used by Josh Allen. There's Beasley. Signed the free agent deal coming over from the Cowboys.
Beasley's right there in the slot.
It's Yeldon. And Yeldon leans forward to the 35.
Remember, Yeldon was the one who had the fumble in the first half. They were in field goal range.
All right, Frank Gore is back and ready to go. Sean McDermott told us that he's everywhere on the complex. He's just involved in everything.
He's the perfect back for them. They love unselfish players who go about their job, who are responsible, team first. That's Frank Gore to a T.
And it also, they really think it helps Singletary. I know he's hurt now, but it's helped him so much in the room. Play clock is down to 3. I don't know if Allen realizes it. Now he does. He calls a time. All right, so clock management for both teams.
Buffalo takes its
a little rough in the second half.
30-second timeout.
Coming up next, most of you will head out to Seattle for game 2 of our doubleheader as the Saints march into Seattle for a showdown with the Seahawks right here on CBS. You got a feel as far as what the Saints are going to do at quarterback without Drew Brees?
I love Hill a lot.
Yeah.
I like what he brings. I think he brings a different dynamic, not just as a gimmick guy, but using him a lot in that offense. I think Sean Payton is going to put him in there and use him a lot more than people think and he could provide the spark that they need.
We'll be up to 39 different quarterbacks, 40 different quarterbacks used this year in week 3 of the NFL. On third down, Allen pitches it to McKenzie, and McKenzie trying to find the right side. Nothing's there, and that was read beautifully by the Bengals. William Jackson, McCray, all there to make the tackle.
They've been trying to get on the edges throughout the game. They go with a little reverse here. A little too cute, I think, right there. You had third and short. Trust your offensive line, run ahead and get the first down. Instead, you go for the trick play and run a reverse. Cincinnati's able to sniff it out and get a stop, a much needed stop. They want to get back in this game. They got to get stops on defense, and that offense needs to get going.
Loss of 3 on the run. Well, Cortez is on to punt the ball away, and it was nearly blocked. Wow, did he get a good one off? Erickson is out at the 31-yard line. He breaks a couple tackles, and then is up across the 35 to the 36. Brandon Wilson nearly gave the Bengals great field position, but instead Andy Dalton will go to work when we return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Modelo, a taste that's pure gold, brewed for those with a fighting spirit. State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And by Burger King. Try the all-new Impossible Whopper, made from plants.
Bills superfan Ezra Castro, fondly known as Pancho Villa, passed away after a long battle with cancer during the offseason. For years, he traveled to Bills games across the country in costume, shouting his catchphrase, "Viva los Bills!" And here are the Bengals on first down. A first down run up to the 46, 47-yard line. Well, one of Pancho's wishes upon his passing was that instead of flowers, he wanted people to donate backpacks with school supplies for kids. The Bills held a backpack stuffing event at New Era Field attended by players and volunteers. Over 10,000 backpacks were filled up. On first down, the Bengals run again, and they may have gotten one. Joe Mixon.
Well, Tom, you mentioned it. We saw in the break, they almost blocked the punt. When your offense is struggling, your defense is struggling, you need your special teams to step up. They were so close. Really should have had the block punt. It's 3 phases. You got to pick your team up when you have the opportunity to. This offense has an opportunity right now.
Shows you so much technique involved in every facet of the game. Uzama in motion on second down. He'll stop on the left side for the Bengals. Dalton under center off the play fake. Throws to the near side. Pass is intercepted at the 39-yard line. Trey White. He stepped in front of Boyd, and he was able to take it off the top of the turf. Second interception this year for the Bills defense.
Well, Boyd is kind of slow coming out of his break, and Tre'Davious White just beats him to the ball. An excellent play. There's been some local criticism this year of Tre'Davious White. I went back, I looked at everyone. You know, he gave up 4 catches that first game. Well, 3 of them were screens. You know, he gave up 6 catches against the Giants, got beat on the run by Saquon Barkley, but he has been everything that the Bills thought he would be when they took him in the first round. An excellent play there, getting an interception.
7th career interception. Brown is in motion on first down from the 40. Off the play fake, Allen steps up. He's hit, now rolls. Still rolling, throws on the run. He was throwing it away. It'll be second down. Carlos Dunlap again was pressuring, and he's been pressuring a lot today for the Bengals.
He's played well throughout the season. All 3 games, you know, I don't think anybody would say they played well against the 49ers, but Dunlap himself has gone out there and had great effort and given exactly what you need as a Bengals team. Every guy, 100% effort every time.
10th year pro out of Florida. It's second down and 10. Allen looking left toward Brown. He's got Brown, who's shoved out of bounds. William Jackson in on the coverage. It's a short gain. It'll be third down and close to 7.
Josh Allen was looking at Brown the entire way there. It's a big third down for both these teams. Offensively, you want to keep this drive together. You want to put a team away. Don't let them sit around. We've already seen a number of comebacks. These Bills, they've come back in both games. They're down 16-0 to the Jets. So you can't allow a team to sit around. If you're the Bengals, you got to get a stop here. We talked about how Brown has been the go-to receiver for Allen on third down.
And Brown is lined up on the near side. Allen under pressure. He's trying to get away, trying to stiff arm, throws on the run. It's intercepted. The Bengals intercept the football. It's Darius Phillips, and he's along the sidelines and out of bounds at about the 21-yard line.
Just a terrible decision by Josh Allen. You're up 14-0. This Bengals team has done nothing offensively. Don't give them possessions. Give them hope. You're drifting away. Maybe he was thinking about the fact that he got an intentional grounding earlier in the game on a play very similar to that. And instead of throwing it out of bounds, he just chucks it up in the middle. And Darius Phillips gets his first interception. But that's on Josh Allen, and that's the plays that they want to see him eliminate. The plays that they can't afford. If they're going to be a contender, you can't just throw the ball up carelessly and allow a team to get back in a game.
And that's exactly what you said before. The Bills probably should have had a larger lead than 14 going into the half, and now they've left the door open for Cincinnati. And on first down, the pitch to the near side. And mix it inside the 20-yard line down to the 19. Levi Wallace makes the tackle.
Here's Allen. He's frustrated. He knows how dumb that decision was.
So
and that's
he lost his spike.
Yeah, that he's been trying to progress, trying to be a smarter quarterback. Brian Daboll's talked to him about that continually game management. A very poor decision by Josh Allen.
Second down, that's Boyd who's in motion for Cincinnati. Capacity crowd here in Buffalo, and then some. Dalton toward the end zone. It's caught inside the 5-yard line. Tyler Eifert. He's down to the 1-yard line.
I've been waiting the entire game. You know, when you're struggling to throw the ball to your receivers, go to your playmaking tight end and Tyler Eifert. They finally find him down the seam. And you can see Eifert, the ability to go. When he's healthy, he's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And the problem is he hasn't been healthy.
Well, that's the first completion to his tight end today. And now first and goal from inside the 2-yard line at about the 1. Dalton's going to keep it, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Cincinnati. He's saying, you know, I can run also. It's not just Josh Allen. It's a 14-6 game.
A little zone read for Andy Dalton, allowing him to place the ball on the running back's belly, pull it, and keep it himself. And look at that, first rushing touchdown since December 18th, 2016. And Josh Allen knows, I let this team back in the game. Now, it's a great challenge for this young quarterback. When you make a mistake like that, a very poor decision, it leads to a touchdown. It allows a team back in the game. Do you have the fortitude to be able to go out there and say, okay, forget about that mistake. Let's move forward and put a drive together.
That is the 20th touchdown for Dalton, in which he's either run or received in his career with Cincinnati. That ties him with the great Ken Anderson in that category. The point after is good. It was all set up by the interception. And good field position after the interception. Phillips, his first one of the year, and then Dalton with the easy scamper. Bills had not had a turnover since the second quarter of the Jets game, and the turnover that Josh Allen just had with the interception has led to a touchdown. See Frank Gore coming over and chatting with the young quarterback. All right, so he's had a lot of good things happen today, but he's made a couple mistakes that have led to points or lack of points.
Yeah, in the first quarter, second drive, they're in field goal range. He gets flushed, very similar, throws it away, gets an intentional grounding. Then they can't get the field goal, and then right there we saw him throw it away, and they end up with the interception, leads to a touchdown.
Here we go, under pressure, Josh Allen. 31 dropbacks, 1 sack, 14 hurries, and 6 times knocked down. He's a big fella.
And sometimes that can work against you because you're strong, you run off of defenders, you get the stiff arm, instead of throwing that ball away, living being able to live for another down. You end up throwing an interception, you throw it away, you get a penalty, knocks you out of field goal range.
Formation, DeMarco is the fullback, the handoff to Gore. And Gore up the middle, cuts to his right. Gore cuts across the 40, and he's across the 45 to the 47-yard line. Jesse Bates makes the tackle.
Watch Frank Gore come through this hole here. It's not a huge hole, but it's nice, and then he comes out, and then he's able to bust it outside. Whoop. Little move. Give me another extra 10 yards.
Well, that's a 22-yard gain. There's an injured offensive lineman down on the field. 10 carries for Gore, 63 yards. And Secchi, who has been rotating in and out on the right side of that offensive line, is down on a knee right now.
Coming into the game, Ford and Secchi have been splitting time, rotating in and out.
Now the Bills have already lost Feliciano today, so that's 2 offensive linemen that they'll have to tend to on the sidelines.
Both on the right side of that offensive line. Gore was kind of limping a little at the end of that run as well.
Yeah, so maybe what happened before with that foot, maybe it wasn't that he needed to get a new shoe. Maybe they taped him up again. They're doing something with that shoe. First down at 10 from the 47.
By 20.
Yeldon. And Yeldon's wrapped up from behind. He gets to midfield. Let's go to JB and Phil in New York.
Kansas City again. Yeah, here we go. It's always down the field. This time a screen. Patrick Mahomes for Sean McCoy. 8 plays, 80 yards. They score. It's Kansas City 13. Baltimore 13. Kansas City 30. Baltimore 13. Send it back to Tom McCarthy and Jay Feely.
Well, LaShawn McCoy with that 14-yard reception for a touchdown. He was here at Buffalo until right before the season. Second down at 7. Yeldon again running left. Yeldon has a first down to the 40-yard line. Brown and Vigil make the tackle. It's a gain of 10 yards.
Dawkins, Spain, Mitch Morse, the big free agent acquisition at center. He's had an excellent season so far. Mitch Morse is the perfect guy for this team. Watch this left side of this offensive line. You're pulling a guard. Excellent job for Yeldon. He's 4 or 5 yards downfield before he even gets touched. And Mitch Morse, the highest paid center, can get outside and run. Great calming presence for Josh Allen.
Off the play fake. Allen steps up in the pocket going toward the end zone, and it's nearly intercepted, broken up by William Jackson. The pass was intended for Robert Foster.
Robert Foster had an excellent second half of the season last year. He hasn't been used that much this year. But William Jackson does a great job high pointing that ball. Almost comes down with a huge interception. Would have been a second straight turnover for the Bills.
Yeah, it is kind of interesting with Foster. Three games last year, 100 yards or more. Finished strong.
Problem for Foster, they brought in Brown, they brought in Beasley, similar receivers that do similar things.
With a little more season to them. On second down, they tried to set up the screen for Gore, and it was read nicely by Cincinnati. All right, so there's been some good Josh Allen today, and there's been some bad Josh Allen today.
These are a couple of the bad plays. That one was on third down, knocked him out of field goal range. This one, throw it away. No, he throws it up for grabs, and Phillips makes him pay.
And you're going to get that with a 23-year-old quarterback, who I have to say, chatting with him on Friday, maturity is outstanding. Let's see if his maturity can lead to a first down here on 3rd and 10.
Remember, they're into the win here, so you have to get at least half of this yardage to be able to attempt a field goal.
Three receivers to the right side. Allen is hit, steps up in the middle of the pocket, trying to get it to Beasley, and he overthrew him. It'll be 4th down. And you're right on with that, Jay, because now they'll have to punt instead of trying for a field goal.
Allen was looking at Beasley that entire time. He's watching him. His eyes are on him. He never leaves him. Watch Allen's eyes here. Beasley's over there in the slot. Watching Beasley, watching. Now as he comes across, he tries to hit him again. Can't get locked on to one receiver.
Dunlap had the initial pressure, then Atkins. Bohorquez on the punt. Fair catch called for by Erickson at the 18-yard line. All right, so it's a one-score game with 3 minutes to play in the third quarter.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Pepsi. Always be celebrating. And by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button, get mortgage.
How beautiful does the Buffalo River look? The USS Little Rock LCS 9 and a lot of other activity as well. First down and 10 for Cincinnati. They'll run the ball on first down, and they've got some daylight across the 30. It's Joe Mixon. Well, prior to that run, the Bills defense had really held the run game in check for the Bengals and everybody else in the National Football League. I mean, first week, it was Le'Veon Bell. He only had 60 yards. Then it was Saquon Barkley. He had a lot of his on the first drive.
First drive, that's right. Then they made an adjustment. This is a defense that doesn't allow teams to have big plays. They made an adjustment after that first drive and shut him down, and they've done a pretty good job. Well, that was a nice run by Mixon there.
14 yards. He's 5 for 32 in the second half, and a pass complete to the 45-yard line. Two good starts for the Bengals. Let's go to JB in New York.
35-yarder from Brissett to Pascal sets this up.
Marlon Mack around the right side. Watch that straight arm he gives. Gets him into the end zone and puts the Indianapolis Colts up 27-17 over the Atlanta Falcons. Good game going on up there in Buffalo. Back to Tom McCarthy and Jay Feely.
All right, Phil. Yeah, Jacoby Brissett, give him some credit for taking over for Andrew Luck. On first down for the 47-yard line. Two big plays for Cincinnati to start this drive. And they'll run it again. Mixon, not much there. He may have lost a yard. Shaq Lawson was in on the tackle.
As poorly as this game has gone for Cincinnati, you're sitting here right now, almost the end of the third quarter, only down one score, only down a touchdown. And for the Bills, you feel like you've been in control the entire game, and all of a sudden you're staring out there understanding, hey, we're in a battle, we need to bring it.
31 yards on the ground for Mixon in the second half. Second down at 11. Off the play fake, Dalton looking to the far side. He's got a man, it's complete. And at the 40-yard line is John Ross, who had a rough first half. And as Andy said, he tries to get him back involved quickly.
Couple of drops and the fumble, and that was an excellent route by John Ross. Threatened deep, got the DB to turn and run, and then ripped off the route, came back, made a nice catch. The Bengals are driving.
Dalton 3 of 5 in the second half for 48 yards from the 39-yard line. Under a minute to play in the third quarter. And that's Tate. And Tate is about 3 yards away from a first down.
Best looking drive for the Bengals yet this game. First time I've seen him in rhythm. First time they've really been able to actually use some tempo. They want to go up tempo because it gives the quarterback pre-snap reads. It slows down the pass rush, kind of wears out a defense, but they haven't been able to do that because they haven't been able to complete passes.
See if Eddie Dalton runs a play here. We're under 10 seconds to play in the third quarter. He will. They'll run it for Mixon, and Mixon, he hit some traffic and is taken down a loss of maybe one. So that's the end of the third quarter. 14-7 Buffalo. We'll return to Buffalo after a word from your local station. Pretty remarkable as we begin the fourth quarter. A first half that was dominated by Buffalo, but they only had a 14-0 lead, and now the Bengals have made it a one-score game. It's third down.
I think you're in two-down territory here if you're Cincinnati. You're into the win, the long field goal, so offensively you know that.
Giovanni Bernard is in motion for the Bengals, and there was movement. Wasn't called. Dalton to Boyd on a slant, and Boyd inside the 25 to the 22-yard line. Just got rid of it quickly.
That's what they want Andy Dalton to do. Read the defense, step, deliver, and Boyd has been his guy throughout this season. That's Boyd's 22nd reception on the year.
As you said, he is the guy who leans on third down. On first down off the play fake, Dalton has Boyd again. Boyd hurdles over the defender and is out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Neal came over to try to make a one-on-one tackle, and Boyd read it beautifully.
There's a reason they went out and signed Boyd to a 4-year, $43 million extension this offseason. Everybody thinks of A.J. Green when they think of receivers with Cincinnati. But Tyler Boyd is a viable second option. He's a guy that can step in and be your number one when A.J. Green is hurt.
Second down and less than 3 yards. Dalton hands the ball off, and Mixon down toward the 12-yard line. Lorenzo Alexander makes the tackle. You know, one thing that Zach Taylor told us, he said we need to do better on first downs. On this drive and even the last drive, they're better on first down, which is setting everything else up.
That's right. He said first down sets up the entire offense. We have to be able to have good first down plays, and then the whole playbook is open for second and third. Here's third and short.
You might think basic, but is this two-down territory, you think, again?
Absolutely.
Mixon in the backfield. Boyd in motion. The pitch goes to Mixon. Running left inside the 10 to the 5, toward the goal line. And he's down to the 1-yard line. He said he had to be better, and he is better.
Nice play design by Zach Taylor. Quick flip out to Dixon. Get him outside the edge. Into space. And nice blocking downfield.
Gain of 12 yards inside the 1. Mixon is now up over 60 yards on the day. He only had 18 in the first half. He's by himself in the backfield. Ross in motion. And Dalton fumbled the ball. It's picked up by the Bills, but flags come flying.
I think the Bills were offside.
I think they might have been too.
Jordan Phillips, 97. Tried to anticipate the snap count, and I think he was a little early.
Edmonds fell on top of the football, but
that's right there in the middle of your screen.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why there was a fumble.
Offside. Defense. Penalty be half the distance to the goal line. Replay first down.
Oh, Andy Dalton already has one touchdown. He's just the nose of the football away from the goal line.
Well, as you're a quarterback, Tom Brady's so good at it. If you get over the ball and you see a crease between either the center or the guard on either side, take it. Doesn't look like there's anything there. Buffalo's defense is in tight.
That's Boyd in motion. Dalton looking to throw. Looking for Mixon. He's got him. Touchdown, Cincinnati. They're an extra point away from tying this game up in the fourth quarter.
This crowd is stunned. That Buffalo sideline is stunned. They can't believe that they're in a tie game.
It's almost a year since Mixon had a receiving touchdown.
Well, we talked about it the entire first half, that this offense is predicated on play action. They haven't been able to do it because they haven't been able to run the ball. They're finally running the ball, and then now they can hit him with the play action, slip Mixon out, try and tie this game up.
Bullock on for the point after. Again, the wind is in his face. And the point after is good. We are tied up at 14. Mixon, a 13-yard run, and then the touchdown reception. And he has drawn the Bengals even. Joe Mixon had some issues with the fans booing in Cincinnati. He backed off those issues. He said, I'm going to have like a flag football clinic for all the fans, because he said it's hard to do what they do.
Well, they're cheering for him right now.
They are. And he did say this week, he goes, but listen, I have to be better. I have to be better at reading the holes. I have to be better at just being more forceful. And he's been better in this second half. And now the Bills will get it back on offense as Roberts will let it bounce in the end zone. All right, so the comparison between these two guys from in the second half, it's a drastic difference.
Certainly has. Andy Dalton on that drive alone to tie the game was 6 for 6. Josh Allen in the second half, 2 for 6 for 3 yards and an interception. It's been a struggle offensively. You can see that for the Bills in this second half. They got to turn it around, find a way to get back down the field, get this momentum, get this crowd back into it. They're kind of dead right now. They're shocked.
Yeah, this crowd has been great all day. It's been great all week here in Buffalo. Gore fumbles the handoff, gets it back, and then runs right into the arms of Kirkpatrick, but still gained 9 yards. He's just an athlete.
This is an RPO here. You got the offensive line blocking run, putting it into Gore's belly. You're looking to see what the defensive line does. There's always the risk. You can see the tape coming off Gore's shoe. They've been working on that all day.
It's amazing. On second down and 1. They'll go Gore again, and Gore, by the edge of the tape on his spikes, has a first down. Dunlap with the tackle. Let's revisit the shoes. You know, Sean McDermott joked about it. He said, I don't know, I think the shoes are from his college days. He said they're so small. They're just tiny. He goes, I don't even think they're available on the shelves anymore. He said, I think he must have boxes of them stored somewhere, and every time he blows out one, he just goes to another. Injured player on the field. It's Dunlap.
They can't afford to lose.
No.
You could see, though, what not having Devin Singletary does to this offense. You know, the inability to take advantage of the different skill sets of Gore and Singletary. Yeldon and Gore are a very similar type back. Singletary, the game breaker, he was averaging 12.7 a carry so far this year. So a big loss for that Bills offense.
Yeah, they don't think it'll be all that long, but it is a hamstring injury. You never know. On first down, they'll go to Gore again, and Gore over the block of his center, Mitch Morse. He may have gotten one. Here's that injury to Singletary against the Giants. I thought this was a cramp when I saw it.
You see right at the end, he starts hobbling. Anytime you have those soft tissue injuries, you don't know how long they're going to last. And the difference for the offense is the pin-pull system that the Bills like to do really fits Singletary well. He has the patience to be able to see, and then the explosion to hit the hole. With Frank Gore, it's much more of a power scheme.
Gore is out. Yeldon is in. That's Yeldon who's in motion. Under 11 minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Pressure coming. He throws it to Beasley. And fortunately, Beasley was able to make that catch because that was nearly intercepted. Nick Vigil was in on the pressure.
Right through the middle, you're going to see the pressure coming. Josh Allen knows it's there, sees it, waits, and delivers a ball, and has just enough on it to get it to Beasley.
Sean Williams was in on the coverage. I know he wasn't in on the coverage, but Preston Brown had a great description of how you cover Beasley. He goes, it's just like playing tag in your backyard. You just got to stay with the guy and keep playing tag with him.
He's just so quick.
They're down at 5. Looking left. Pressure's coming from the right. Breaks away. Steps up. Pressure's still there. Rolls away. And dives for the first down marker. What an effort. He's about a yard shy. Geno Atkins ran him down.
This will be an interesting decision here for Sean McDermott. It's going to be 4th and 1. There's 9:45 left in the game. He's bringing out the punt team. The fans don't like it. You had the Bengals just go right down the field to score and tie this game.
I think you have one of the best defenses in the league. I think there's just too much time, don't you?
That's how you're thinking of your Sean McDermott. It's a tie game. You're going to trust your defense. That's the strength of your team. And you've been struggling in the second half to move the ball.
Erickson back at the 10 for the Bengals. The Jorquez. Erickson's going to come run up and call for the fair catch, and he'll take it at the 14-yard line. All right, so it's been all Bengals in the second half. They'll have the ball tied up at 14.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Just for Men Control GX. Wash your beard daily to reduce gray gradually. Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
What a day it's been here at New Era. The Bills fans have been loud from the get-go. Andy Dalton's getting louder now, Jay, as this quarter's moved on. Last 10 pass attempts, Those check marks are important. Here's Mixon, and Mixon is pounded at the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of 1. All right, so you talked about it. This defense has been so good for the Bills. This is a huge series for them.
They believe they're one of the best defenses in the league. Over the last 2 years, the numbers show that. Well, right now is the time to assert yourself. Andy Dalton and the Bengals went right down the field on the last drive, last possession, and scored a touchdown to tie this game. Your offense has struggled in the second half. Right now, you got to rely on this defense. Shut this team down.
That's Boyd in motion at the play fake. Dalton looking to throw. He's hit as he throws. It's incomplete. It was a wobbler because it was kind of misdirected in the backfield. Good pressure.
Well, they brought Jordan Poyer, 21, on a safety blitz off the backside. He was able to get to Dalton and hit him as he was trying to deliver the ball. That caused the incompletion.
Cincinnati has not been magical on third downs today. They're 2 of 8, 45% for the year.
Boyd is up at the top. He's hiding behind. You can look for a little rub route, a little clear out route.
Eifert was in motion. He's on the line of scrimmage trying to break free. Pass is complete to Boyd at the 35-yard line. And he's up across the 40 to the 42.
Watch Boyd run all the way down the field, continuing to run. He's going to stop and then come right behind the other receiver. Because you have the clear out in front of him, it opens the void for Boyd to come in, and a great ball delivered by Andy Dalton.
26 yards on the pass play. Boyd now 6 catches, 67 yards. You can see the change in the confidence, too, for the Bengals in the second half. Bill showing blitz. The handoff to Mixon. Run down from behind by Micah Hyde. He read that beautifully from the right side.
Watch Micah Hyde. He's sneaking up. He's going to come. He's going to come right around the corner. Skim along the edge. He has contained, and then he skims. Perfectly played by Micah Hyde. An excellent play behind the line of scrimmage.
Second down at 12. Heading towards 7 minutes to play here in the fourth quarter, tied at 14.
Dalton adjusting the play again.
Dumps it off to Mixon. Mixon has a blocker, has daylight inside Bills territory, and he's out of bounds inside the 30. What a well-designed play, and as Jay said, it was changed at the line of scrimmage by Andy Dalton.
All right, here you go. Here's Mixon. He's going to just come up, play action, and then sneak out the backside. An excellent screen here. You get a blocker out front. He seals it. And look at all the open space Mixon had there.
Yeah, it was all his legs there. 33 yards for Mixon. And a first down to the 27 of Buffalo. Bernard to his right. And Bernard inside the 25. Matt Milano makes the tackle.
In this offense, the wide receivers have to be able to block. They go bunch formation right. You're going to pull to the right side, and your receivers, if they block, you're going to have an opportunity for a good play. It's exactly what you saw picking up 4 yards.
6 minutes left to play here in the fourth quarter. Look at the difference, second half to first half for the Bengals.
I honestly feel like the Bills, they got lulled to sleep.
Yeah.
They were doing whatever they wanted. 2 big turnovers. They turn it over, they fumble, then they throw the interception, and boom, the Bengals are back in this game.
First down markers at the 17. Not much there. And a loss of 2 on the play. White makes the tackle. Bernard running the football, and he's in for Mixon.
At the beginning of the game, we talked about how important this game was for Zach Taylor and his staff. A very young staff, inexperienced, and how they had to respond after the tough game against the 49ers. They've done that in the second half. They get a big third down here. You're in field goal range, 5 minutes left in this game.
This quarter, they're 3 for 3 on third downs. And they've mixed it up with the way they've gone after the third downs.
Last time they went to Boyd.
Here's Dalton, and he was trying to go to Boyd, but Boyd broke out of his route.
It looked like a little confusion there between Boyd and Dalton. If you saw Boyd at the end, he put his hands up to his face like, oh, I did the wrong thing. They kind of went, they got jammed. Boyd and Eifert got jammed at the line of scrimmage. That's why Boyd was frustrated. This is a big kick here now. Last 2 weeks, Randy Bullock has missed field goals, a critical one in the Seattle game. This is a 43-yarder into the wind.
This is the way the wind has been blowing all day long. It hasn't shifted at all from the middle of the field. Good snap, good hole. Kick is on its way, end over end, and it is good. And Bullock has given the Bengals the lead, 17-14, with 4:54 to play here in the fourth quarter. A 43-yarder.
Zach Taylor fired up for his kicker. Big kick for Randy Bullock there, and these Bengals to get the lead. I was really impressed with Zach Taylor, just how positive he was. Even amidst just a thrashing that they took to the 49ers, he said, listen, we're going to stay positive with our guys. We're going to coach them. We're going to make adjustments, but we're not going to get down. And he talked about Sean McVay and how Sean McVay was so positive with everybody, so intentional with his relationships.
And I said to him, we both said to him, you know, what's the biggest difference being a head coach? He said, well, it gives me greater appreciation for when I would go to Sean McVay's office, knock on his door, and now I think about it, I would ask him a dumb question that I didn't need to ask him, and he would always have time for me. He said, I'm learning that that does happen.
There's so many things that head coach has to deal with outside of just coaching, especially when you're Zach Taylor or Sean McVay and you're calling the offense as well. But just the totality of being a head coach and dealing with everything in the team, outside the team, business-wise, it's a lot.
Roberts at the goal line. He's going to return this one. And he's met at the 23-yard line. Stay tuned for the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut. Time permitting, join JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, and Coach Cower for all the latest NFL scores and highlights. All right, so Josh Allen, it's a little different when we look at his last 10 attempts compared to Andy Dalton.
Well, and for me, the one that stands out is the interception. You know, just an awful decision by Josh Allen to throw that ball away when Cincinnati was doing nothing offensively, and it got him back in this game.
And now the Bengals, 17 unanswered points, lead it by 3. Under 5 minutes to play. Allen slings it to Beasley, and Beasley has it at the 29-yard line. It's a gain of 7. Looks like they're going to hurry it up a little bit here.
Try to get a little tempo. This helps Josh Allen to get a little pre-snap read, understand what the defense is doing before he gets the ball.
Leroy Reynolds in the game for Cincinnati at the linebacking position. Allen again, he's got a wide open tight end on the outside. Dawson Knox breaks a few tackles, barrels through another one. He's inside the 25-yard line. He was like a battering ram.
Reminded me of a rookie Jeremy Shockey with the New York Giants. Very similar play Shockey had as a rookie. Dawson Knox said, hey, Josh Allen, you're not the only one who could stiff arm people and run people over.
49 yards. Well, that certainly changes things. On first down from the 22. Allen to throw again. His line's giving him some time, so are his feet, and he slides inside the 20.
Really good decision by Josh Allen there. There was nowhere to go with the ball. Don't force it. Don't trust your arm. Pick up half the yardage. The clock is moving now, under 3.5 minutes. You're in field goal range. That's what he's talking about, that progression, learning the game, understanding the position that you're in, and being a game manager.
Allen, 23 of 36, 243 yards. He's also carried the ball 6 times for 32 yards. And he is breaking away from the defender. He stumbles toward the 20, pumps once, runs inside the 10. Hubbard is able to finally track him down. The Bengals had him, I would say, at least 3 times behind the line of scrimmage.
The strength that he has, his ability to break tackles, for plays not to break down and give up on a play, is just staggering. Look at, they got a hold of his jersey. He's ripping out of it. They should have him 3 times there for a sack. Instead, he gets the first down.
Amazing. Andrew Brown was the first one there.
The only player, quarterback-wise, who's rushed for more yardage than Josh Allen is Lamar Jackson in the last 2 years.
On 1st and goal. Here's Yeldon up the middle. And Yeldon is stood up by Brown, the second-year pro out of Virginia. And we are winding down toward the 2-minute warning here in the 4th quarter.
But you're okay. You want this clock if you're Buffalo to churn. You don't want to give it back. I'd take the 2-minute here. There you go.
So we've reached a 2-minute warning. It's a 3-point lead for Cincinnati, but the Bills are a-moving.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon, the network more people rely on. And by Sonic. This is how you Sonic.
In his young career, Josh Allen has had 3 fourth-quarter game-winning drives. Can he make it number 4 here?
There's Beasley. If you can find Beasley in a one-on-one matchup, this is why you brought him here.
On 2nd and goal, he keeps it himself, running right toward the goal line. He's down inside the 1. He took a lick. Andrew Brown has had a good 4th quarter. He made the tackle. And I think the Bengals used a timeout there.
And that was smart. Try to conserve as much time as possible.
Don't forget they used a timeout earlier in this half because of the 12 men on the field.
54 seconds.
Yeah, he was trying to get open.
But that was a design run to Josh Allen all the way. Physical, punishing runner. Man, he takes a beating.
Yeah, he does. Well, let's see what they do here. I mean, they could just keep it with him again. The way he can run.
A sneak. I mean, that's what I would do with Josh Allen. Get some offensive line behind a push as well and try and push that pile and score a touchdown.
3 tight ends have come into the ball game for the Bills. All 3 of their tight ends. Smith, Knox, and Sweeney. And they brought in the fullback DeMarco as well. No receivers spread out. Gore is the deep man. Gore to the end zone. Touchdown Bills. A 1-yard plunge. And Buffalo has retaken the lead. Seven plays, 78 yards. A 1-yard touchdown run for Frank Gore.
Just power football. He'll bring in the fullback. Give it to the old man. Let him get in the end zone. An excellent drive by this Buffalo offense. Good job sealing right there. A nice hole for Frank Gore to run through.
Remember, he had gone 20 games without a touchdown and then had one earlier this year, and now a second one. Point after, and it's a big point after. It's good. Hauschka, money in the bank, makes it 21-17. So now the Bengals need a touchdown. Well, Dawson Knox has had himself a decent day today, and this was a huge 49-yard run. This is a fun run.
Get off me.
Bam.
Okay, I'm going to play physical. I'm going to jump over you. That's a rookie right there, too. Frank Gore capping it off. And I give Josh Allen a ton of credit because he had really struggled in the second half. He knew in the back of his mind his poor decision and that interception that he threw let this Bengals team back in the game. He put it aside. He went back out there and led his team down the field on that drive. Remember, he was going to get sacked in the back. Rips away, tears a jersey, runs through a couple guys, gets the first down, runs him down to the 1-yard line, and Frank Gore cashes it in.
Hey, there's some great sights that we're watching, too, as we're chatting. Frank Gore dancing on the sideline is pretty entertaining. And you don't think he still likes to play at 36? Andy Dalton will still have time, though, as that ball goes out of the back of the end zone. Andy Dalton is a seasoned veteran. A 150 is still a lot of time. He only has the 1 timeout.
1 timeout, so you have to be smart when you use it. Most coaches like to keep that timeout as long as they can. You're looking to work the sideline. You're looking to get first downs and get up and spike the ball. Tyler Boyd has been his go-to receiver, 6 catches, 67 yards. Ross, his big playmaker, at any point he can break it and take it the distance. He's dropped a couple of balls, had the fumble today.
Dalton on first down. Has it swatted away by Lorenzo Alexander, incomplete. Second down, let's go to JB in New York.
The magician, Lamar.
Yeah, exciting game out there in Kansas City. Lamar Jackson, 9-yard touchdown run. Watch it. Going to stop completely. Won't fake it out. Get into the end zone. Kansas City, the 2-point conversion was no good. Kansas City 33, Baltimore 28. Back to Tom and Jay Feely.
Well, you know, Phil, the 2-point conversion here is huge right now that the Bills had in the first half because of the penalty on the Bengals.
Yeah, they had 12 men on the field. They're going to kick an extra point. They have 12 men on the field. So instead, because it moves it to the 1-yard line, they're able to go for 2. And because it goes up to the 1-yard line, they can rub the run route because you can block 1 yard. You can get the pick, a legal pick. That's what they did, got Beasley open.
That's right, because there was a penalty on that 2-point conversion, but it was picked up because of that. Harrison Phillips, by the way, is the injured Bills player. Look at Lorenzo Alexander.
Understanding timing. I talked about that, how they coached that. You saw him go to put his hand up, waited until Andy Dalton was delivering the ball, got his hand up, almost got an interception.
So that's the third pass deflection of the day for the Bills defense. It's second down.
That's John Ross, the speedster, at the bottom.
And Bernard's in the backfield on 2nd and 10. Dalton drops back to pass, dumps it off to Bernard. He has it, but he's a little too far back. He may have gained a couple. It'll be third down. Milano in on the coverage.
They tried a double move with John Ross. If Dalton had time, he could have gone deep. He didn't have time, had to check it off to Bernard. You're in 2-down territory here. You have to go for it on 4th down. You got 2 downs to get the first down.
So you don't have to go for the first down here. You can go underneath.
No, but you're worried about the clock, too. You got 139. You got to go all the way.
Yep.
You got 75 yards to go.
Dalton steps up, slings it. It's complete inside the 35, but shy of the first down. That's okay, but they got to hurry
up.
up.
Penalty, though.
Yeah, the flag
That's going to
comes
stop the
in.
clock. Now, did they call offensive? Did he push off?
It looks like it's against the Bills just by Jordan Poyer's reaction.
Prior to the pass, holding defense. It's a 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And I think your key too, Jay, is that it stopped the clock with 1:33 to play.
There's the holding. It's a nice catch. It's going to be short of the first down. So not only you get the first down, it stops the clock.
Kevin Johnson called for the hold. .133 left to play. Clock is stopped after the penalty. On first down, Dalton, middle of the field. Pass is complete to Tate, and Tate slips up to the 44-yard line.
Got to be quick. Get up to the line of scrimmage. Get that play called. You don't need to use your timeout yet.
1:14. Clock continues to run. Dalton middle of the field again. Pass to complete to Tate again. All right, but this is using the clock.
And that's what defensively the Bills are allowing them to throw the ball in the middle, rally to the ball, make the play. You're under a minute now. You still have 1 timeout.
24 career game-winning drives for Andy Dalton. Trying to make it 25. Middle of the field again, incomplete. He's hit as he lets that one fly. Jerry Hughes was pressuring, so was Jordan Phillips. It'll be second down. It's not the worst thing if you're Dalton to have the clock stop there with 45 seconds left.
Not at all. You can sit, get into a huddle, get your best play call if you're Zach Taylor. At some point you have to take a shot here. You begin to run out of time, but with 45 seconds and a timeout, you're okay. You can still work the middle if the Bills allow you to do that.
Dalton 13 of 19 in the second half. That was Eifert in motion to the line of scrimmage. To the right side, he's got Erickson. Erickson trying to get out of bounds. He's out of bounds inside the 35 with 38 seconds left to play.
Exactly what you want if you're Cincinnati. You pick up the first down, you save your timeout, you get out of bounds.
It's a gain of 13 yards.
This little late crossing route by Erickson. Receivers run the defense out. It's open underneath. Erickson catches it, gets out of bounds.
Sean McDermott knows that there's a 12th man here. He's trying to get the crowd involved again. Allen did his job. He gave the Bills the lead.
Boyd is hidden right there. He's been his go-to guy throughout this season.
Dalton's looking that way. Throws underneath to Bernard, and Bernard inside the 30-yard line is driven down at the 28 by Micah Hyde. The clock continues to run.
You gotta clock it. You gotta get up there and clock it.
When are you going to use the timeout? Is there a time you're going to use it?
They could have used it right there, but they quickly got up and clocked it. So now you've saved it, which gives you flexibility offensively.
So now it's 3rd down and 5. And you listen, they've been able to convert these. This is what Zach Taylor's saying, spike it.
Well, you could have saved 7-8 seconds if you called timeout there. But then you're in the position that if you throw into the middle and they tackle you, you might not get another play. If you get a sack, you might not get another play. By spiking it, you save the timeout, but now you have 3rd down.
21 seconds left in the 4th quarter. Each team with a timeout left. Play clock is down to 7.
You got to get it off. You don't want to use the timeout for the play clock.
He gets it off with 2 on the play clock. Throws to the high point, and it's intercepted! It was tipped in the air, then intercepted! Trey White with his 2nd interception. I don't know if anybody touched him.
But he gave himself up. That's what they would say. Just like a receiver can give himself up.
It's White's first multi-interception game of his career. There is a flag on the field. Watch this. The ball's tipped off the hands of Tate. White is able to grab it. Hyde also had his hand on it. Now nobody has touched him at this point, and he's running into the end zone, which is not the right thing to do.
No, you don't want to give any opportunity for something to go wrong.
But I do believe it's what we said. The officials are saying gave himself up. Here's Cleve Lakeman, who's going to let us know what the flag is.
Ruling on the field is a defensive interception. The player gave himself up at the 15-yard line. Following the play, we have unsportsmanlike conduct against Cincinnati, number 68, for contact with an official. It's 15 yards from the end of the play, plus it's automatic disqualification.
Bobby Hart has been disqualified. Gene Steratore joins us. Gene, I think Cleat explained it properly. Even though he wasn't touched, he did give himself up.
He did, Tom, and it's the correct ruling. When a player does lay down, give himself up in a play scenario like this, you know, interception at the end of the game as this is, when you're running and realize, you know what, I just have to go down because this game is basically going to be over now. That in itself is giving yourself up, and we want to stop the game at that point anyway. That's a good job by the officials.
Josh Allen takes a knee, and that will do it. The Buffalo Bills are 3-0 with a 21-17 victory over the Cincinnati Bengals.
Big comeback for the Bills. Didn't play well in the second half, but Josh Allen put him on his back, brought him down the field, got the victory, and guess who's coming to town next week? The big bad Patriots. 3-0 versus 3-0. What a game that's going to be.
It does set it up. If you thought the city was a buzz this weekend, it was a buzz. I can't imagine what it's going to be like this coming week in Buffalo. 21-17, the final score. The Bills have defeated the Bengals. The Bills 3-0, the Bengals 0-3. For Jay Feely, this is Tom McCarthy saying so long for Buffalo. We'll get you back to our New York studios in the NFL Today update delivered by Pizza Hut. What a game this was. A heck of a comeback by the Bengals, and then the Bills are able to win it at the end.